Stand up, New York Giant fans. Let's go. I know a lot of Giants fans out there are happy. And the New York Giants today, major change. We've been saying it now for, 2 months, how we were worried that the New York Giants weren't going to do what we felt was the right thing to do as a fan base. They've now had several times to try to do this thing the right way. We could go back to the days with, obviously, when they decided to fire Coughlin and they kept Jerry Reese in 2015, disaster. We could go to when they fired Sherman, they kept Dave Gettleman, disaster. They had their third opportunity to do it. They finally, in my opinion, and I'm sure most of your guys' opinion, did this right. We've received word that the New York Giants are going out there and they're already bringing in GM candidates from every spot around the league. All the best organizations in the league, the Kansas City Chiefs, the San Francisco 49ers, you name the spot, they're bringing them in here to interview for the job. And now they're going to begin a head coaching search. And we'll talk about all the candidates that the New York Giants may look to bring in to be the next head coach. We'll talk about Brian Flores. We'll talk about Jim Harbaugh. We'll talk about Brian Daboll. All the options are open. It's going to depend on what head coach they bring in and what what general manager rather they bring in and what his vision is for this team going forward. But big change for the New York Giants, something that was desperately needed. And before I even get to the chat and talk to you guys, first off, thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. I'm happy for all you guys. I know you guys are just as emotionally invested in this team as I am. I'm going to take my victory shot. Haven't been able to take that many victory shots, Mr. Joe Judge. Haven't been able to take many of these this year, Joe Judge. So this one goes to you, Joe. I hope when you watch back this stream, Mr. Judge, you watch the tape. This victory shot's for you, Joe. Cheers to you, Joe. Best of luck in New England. New beginnings for the New York Giants. Let's get to it, man. What's going on there, Lake Nona, man? What's going on there, Sean? What's going on there, Zach? What's going on there, Crimson Tide? Fight for old DC, man. Thanks for popping in. Chris L says, big day for the biggest day for the franchise since Super Bowl 46. Yeah, I mean, I think, I agree. It's the first time that I think, as a Giants fan, I feel like they're doing this right. Now, they did it once before, but Gettleman was an in-house guy. We all know that it wasn't an extensive search for the GM. It looks as if the Giants are really going to try to bring in the best qualified GM they possibly can. Now there's going to be nothing forced upon him. He's going to be able to come in here and build this team the right way. Expect a lot of changes in this organization. The players, everybody from within the front office, gone. I think there's going to be a change throughout this entire organization. Scouts, assistant GM, everything. And it's a desperately needed cleaning. So I'm glad that the New York Giants are finally doing it right. And I'm excited to start covering this team in the offseason because there's going to be a lot to talk about. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. When I saw this go down, in the back of your head, you're like, 50-50. But if it was going to happen, I didn't think it was going to happen this quick. I thought they'd hire the GM first. And this tells me that you may get they may hire the GM quicker than we initially anticipated because they might have already talked to Shane, who's coming in tomorrow for the interview. And he may have said, listen, I ain't even taking this job if Joe Judge is going to be the head coach. They're talking to him tomorrow. He's going to be the first guy that's coming in for a meeting. And they might have said, you know what, we're moving on now. And they may make an offer for Shane tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to read a couple of them here because I'm going to be way too far behind, man. Thank you to everybody for being here. Pimp named Slickback says, I'll trust whoever is hired, but my preference is Flores or Harbaugh. I want an experienced guy who won before and a young, innovative offensive coordinator. Yeah, I'm completely with you. In terms of the head coaches, I love Jim Harbaugh. I've been talking about Jim Harbaugh on this channel for 3 years. I know a lot of Giants fans aren't. I know there's a lot of Michigan fans that think that he didn't do a great job over there because they didn't beat Ohio State. And I know he ruffled some feathers the wrong way. I've always been a big fan of Jim Harbaugh. I want the GM to decide though. So whatever it may be, they bring in Joe Shane. Shane wants to bring in Daboll. I'm completely fine with that. Let the GM decide. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think Flores has done a terrific job with Miami. That seemed to be something where he wasn't getting along with upper management. That's why they got rid of him there. But yeah, I'd be happy with either one of those guys. Both those guys to me are very qualified, accomplished head coaches. And I think that's at the top of my list right now too. I'll have a video out probably tomorrow talking about all the coaching candidates that the New York Giants could be looking towards. But those are certainly two of them. Daboll's going to be another name. If we hire Shane, I would think that Daboll's going to be the front runner to get the job for the New York Giants in terms of the head coach. But we'll see. You know, we're going to hear a lot of rumors going forward. We're probably going to get our answers within a week or two, because then they're going to have to start thinking about the offseason, free agency, the draft, everything else. They want to get all their ducks in a row and get going. Independent says your realistic picks for who you would want for head coach G. I mean, yeah, if it was me, like in a perfect scenario, I mean, based off the guys that they've already brought in, like they're not bringing in Dodds apparently. Dodds is interviewing with the Chicago Bears. Based off the names they're bringing in for the GM, I would say Joe Schoen. And I guess if they hire Joe Schoen, I'm assuming he'd probably push for Brian Daboll, which I'd be completely fine with. He's done a pretty good job with the Buffalo Bills, the offensive coordinator, if that's the guy that he wants. But me, it would be Harbaugh. Harbaugh's always been my dream head coach now for the last couple of years. But I'm going to back whoever it is, and I hope that he does a good job, kind of like what a pimp named Slickback just said. And I'm going to be patient with this regime. You know, I'm going to give them at least 3 years. I was willing to give if I was willing to give Gettleman and Shermer 3 years, you could bet your ass I'm going to be willing to give this parent 3 years, because I didn't want to fire Shermer in 2019. I would have given him 3 years. If I was willing to give them 3 years, I'm going to be willing to give this parent 3 years, period. They're getting 3 years from me, regardless. But I think once you moved on from Gettleman, this was the best decision. Clean house, let the GM build the team that he sees fit. Saeed says, Glennon for head coach, Fromm for GM. Do you want to go to hell, Saeed? And a kid called Chris says, Tana, this better be the loudest stand-up yet. I think it was pretty loud. So happy for the Giants fans right now. We deserve it. Much love from Scotland, man. Thank you so much for popping in, man. I really appreciate it. And let me see if I can catch up with the chat, man. You guys are the best. Thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. And I hope you guys are as excited as I am. When I saw that tweet, I was shocked. The first thing I said on Twitter when I saw that tweet was, wow. Because I was like, you kidding me? There's no way. I was getting ready to do a Twitter live stream, like I said in my video today. I'm like, I'm just going to go on Twitter. It's going to be a mellow live stream. I'll talk to my subscribers because I don't feel like I get a good enough opportunity to talk to you guys when I do these live streams, because there's so many people in here, and I'll probably just push it back to tomorrow. There's going to be a ton to talk about, so I'll just do it tomorrow. But this was just way too big not to do on YouTube. So I appreciate all you guys for being here, and I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I'll try to answer as many of your questions as I can, but it is nice to feel like the Giants did the right thing. Because it's been a long time since I felt like John Mara did the right thing. And you know what? As fans, we get on John Mara, but we get on John Mara because we love the team. It's not because we hate John Mara. It's because we want this team to improve and start building the right way. And if we're going to blame John Mara all the time, we got to give him his props. And I'm going to give him his props. I think he did the right thing here. Let's see who they hire. Let's see the job that they do. But I think this was the only avenue that the New York Giants could go down. And I think a lot of us as Giants fans were scared that they were not going to go down that path. So I'm thrilled as a Giants fan, and I feel like I feel optimistic now, at least going forward. Now, next year, am I saying Super Bowl? No. You're going to have a GM that's going to come in now. He's going to get rid of the dead weight on this team. He's going to start molding the team the way that he wants. And in the NFL, it could take 2 years. It might even take 3 years. But as long as I feel like most Giant fans, as long as they see a direction and they feel like this team is headed towards the right path, they'll be happy with that. I think a lot of Giants fans going to next year, if we win 5 or 6 games, but they see a direction, they say, okay, I see a direction here. I think that this is something that could build towards something great. They'll be okay with that. This year, you saw a regression. You saw a head coach that went for I don't care how many injuries the New York Giants had. Joe Judge, the biggest problem for me with Joe Judge, outside of the media, which a lot of fans get on him for that. I'm not going to get on him for that. The biggest problem for me with Joe Judge, I don't care who your quarterback is. I don't care who your left tackle is. I don't care who your wide receivers are. I don't care. He showed no confidence in his players all year, start to finish. None. And I don't care that our third string quarterback's out there. What quarterback is going to look at that? What player is going to look at that and say, yeah, I want to shoot up for the New York Giants next year. I want to sign with that football team. I want to get drafted by the New York Giants. The guy called for a QB sneak on 3rd and 9 from his own 4-yard line. Just waved the white flag. And I think that did him in. And then obviously you had the 11-minute press conference and everything else. And it was time for a change. And listen, I'm a nice guy. I try to be as patient as I can. I try to give everybody an opportunity. I try to see both sides of it. Joe Judge was dealt a really poor hand. Joe Judge was not head coach material for the New York Giants. And I think the Giants found that out this year and they had to make a move. Has my man. Thank you very much, man. Best birthday present so far. Happy birthday to you, man. And I know you're excited going into the offseason now, man. But thank you very much, buddy. And let me try to catch up with these right now. And thank you to everybody for being here, man. Mr. Mini Guy says, sit down, Joe Judge. He gone. Get him out. See ya. The Dayman says, I'm actually excited to be a Giants fan for the first time in a while. Yeah, I mean, listen, it was depressing to be a Giants fan. I said it on Twitter right as the news came out. This is like the first time I've smiled saying stand up in like a month, 2 months, because it's depressing, not just with how the team's performing, but being surrounded by a fan base, rightfully so, that's depressed and upset and thinking everything's going to go wrong. Now, at least it's a clean start. You wipe your hands. I think most Giant fans are supporting this decision. They're supporting the direction of this football team going forward. And now we hope that they build properly. There's no obstacles in the way now for this new regime. Last time around, there were obstacles, and they did it the wrong way. We all know that Mara, Gettleman, whoever you want to blame, they did not rebuild when they should have in 2018, and that screwed up the whole process. I don't see anything that will screw up the process this time around. There's no attachments to anybody. There's no head coach. John Mara is going to step aside. You don't have a franchise quarterback like Eli Manning no longer on the team. The fan base is 100% together that they want to start to see this team being built the right way. So I think it's a good day to be a New York Giants fan. But Damon, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it, man. What's going on there, William Figueroa, man? Thanks for popping in. Can somebody play Hallelujah? No way this is real, Horny Tana says. What's going on, man? Horny Tana, my man. What's up, buddy? And Memo says, love you, Tana. Best day ever, man. Best day ever, man. Thank you so much for being here. And for the younger Giants fans, I know you guys are excited. It's time for a change. And I know a lot of people don't like celebrating other people losing their jobs, but I'm a fan of the football team at the end of the day. It's like when people ask me about Saquon Barkley, and you guys know I love Saquon Barkley. When people ask me about Saquon Barkley and they say, should he be in the long-term plans of this football team? No. I think about the team. I don't think about the player. I don't think about the coach. I don't think about the general manager. I think about what is right for this team long-term, and this is the right decision. And I just hope that they bring in the best GM possible that will take this job. And now, all of a sudden, guys, this job looks pretty attractive. You've got 2 top 7 picks. You've got 3 picks in the top 85. You have free reign to do whatever the hell you want with the roster. You could draft the quarterback this year, which I don't want to do, but you could. You could trade down, get more draft capital, draft the quarterback in the following year. Maybe you like Daniel Jones. I don't know. But this GM is going to be able to do whatever he wants with this roster. He's going to be able to paint his canvas, and I'm excited. This is how you're supposed to set your GM up, and it looks like we're bringing in a lot of good qualified candidates, and it looks like the New York Giants are changing their ways. So I'm really excited, man. Drew Apple says, I can feel the aura changing, brother. Tish finally pushing his way, and you could just tell. All I ask for Flores, Dabble, anybody with Shane, rather. Yeah, man, I like Shane a lot. I also like the guy from the 49ers. And we'll see. We'll see who they ultimately end up hiring. But the majority of those guys on that list, and now that you have no fear that they're going to stick with Joe Judge, the majority of the guys on that list I'll be completely fine with. They're all outsiders. They're all young. They're all innovative. I have my preferences. But I'm going to trust Mara to pick the guy that he feels is the best guy to get the job done, and I'll give that guy 3 years to get the job done, and we'll take it year by year. I'm not going to be overly critical year one. I'm going to realize he's inheriting. If you're a fan out there that expects immediate success, you were a fan that said that Dave Gettleman absolutely sucked, well, you have to realize that the guy that's coming in is taking over the roster that Dave Gettleman built. So he's not going to just be able to pick this up year one and everything's going to be beautiful. And it was kind of the mindset I had when Gettleman took the job, because we all knew Reese was good in the beginning, but his second half wasn't very good. So he left a poor situation for Gettleman. It's the same thing this time around. It's arguably worse. At least you have 2 high draft picks, but it's not a very good situation. So you got to give this guy a couple of years to get this team going in the right direction. JR says, this is the happiest I've been all season, Tana, man. Thank you so much for being here, man. This is the happiest I've been all season, too. Sports Critic says, I told you they will fire Joe Judge yesterday. Amir, I didn't doubt that they could fire Joe Judge. I was kind of 50-50 on it. I did not think it was going to happen now. I got done eating dinner. I go on Twitter, and I see everybody going crazy. I see all these messages. Everybody's going crazy. I was like, what the hell just happened? I'm like, do we have an earthquake? What the hell just happened? And then I see everybody saying Joe Judge got fired, so I just wrote wow in capital letters with exclamation points. I was blown away. Dominic says, good riddance. What's going on, Dominic, man? And thank you to everybody for being here. Adam says, Judge gone, Gettleman gone, Abrams not a candidate. What the hell is going on? I'm pumped, bro. Just said F work. I'm in here now. What's up? This is more important work. No, it's not. Don't lose your job. But thank you so much for being here. And yeah, the Abrams thing. I think yesterday when I saw the news, like they didn't even say they're taking an interview from Kevin Abrams. They were just like, Kevin Abrams not getting an interview. He's done. He's gone. No way is Kevin Abrams getting an interview. When I saw that, I was like, okay, something big is happening. Now, I didn't know Joe Judge was going to get fired, but I was like, big changes are in store because that's not the Giants' way. John Mara is typically a guy that's classy, which I respect. I think he's a good man. He's classy. He tries to do the right thing by people. But when he did that, you're talking about a guy that's been in the organization for 20 years who got an interview the last time around that's been the assistant GM. He said he ain't even getting an interview. I'm like, there's something in the works here. And I don't think we're done. I think there's going to be a lot of people like Kevin Abrams that are going to be looking for other jobs, and we'll see. But it's time to flip this team upside down. Yuri, man, thank you very much, man. This is the most attractive spot. We have 2 first-round picks. Yeah, I'd have to think. I mean, it's up there. I'm telling you right now, some fans may not agree with that, but with the pending GM openings, I think we're more attractive than Chicago. I'll tell you that right now. The Chicago Bears don't have a first-round pick. Chicago Bears have Justin Fields at quarterback, and you're probably going to have to stay committed to him for at least another year. They traded a lot of draft capital to go up and get him. It's a weak quarterback draft class, and Fields may be good. He may not be, but he's far from a sure thing. Here, you have free reign to do whatever you want. So I do think we're a more attractive destination than Chicago. I'll say that much. And thank you very much. Jesse says, let's go. Finally, Giants fans can rejoice. And let's just hope we get back to where we need to be. Let's just hope we get back to where we need to be. It's not going to happen in a year, but let's hope we start building the right way. And I think this is going to make it much more enjoyable for me this offseason as a content creator to actually, to have hope that we're going somewhere. Not next year specifically, but going somewhere and building something where we could have a sustained success for a period of time if we do this the right way. So I'm excited. Stan says, A-Rod for MVP for helping us out on the Pat. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers was mocking the 3rd and 9 decision like everybody else, all the people on ESPN, Fox Sports, all the Giants fans, all the people on Twitter, rightfully so. It was a joke of a decision by Joe Judge in the last game of the season. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers came out and basically gave it to Joe Judge. Visk says, I've never refreshed Twitter more times in the last 2 days than ever. I was in class 4 hours yesterday. No news until today. Well, you got your wish. And now we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to have, and I'm sure there's going to be names that are leaked once they hire the GM, what head coaches they're potentially looking at. And we'll see. And I think we're going to get a better idea of who the head coach is probably going to be based on the GM that they bring in. But I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about the search and which guys they're looking to bring in here, man. I really am. And I'm excited that there's changes happening. Troy says, G-Men, the wait is over. Let's get out the end zone and quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9, man. QB sneak. What do you guys think? And I'm not going to be able to see the chat right now because I'm way behind. But talk amongst yourselves. What do you guys think is going to be remembered in New York sports history or New Jersey sports history as a more embarrassing moment? QB sneak 3rd and 9 or the Mark Sanchez butt fumble? It's pretty close for me. MY Giants 26 says, bye, shit stain Joe. Let's get the cleanest undies. Thank you, MY Giants 26, man. Thank you very much, buddy. And Pete the Skeet says, holy sheet. Thank you, Pete, man. I appreciate it, man. And I'm glad that you're happy. Blue Collar says, we need to hit on the GM, the coaches, and the draft. Yeah, I mean, Blue Collar. You hit the nail on the head. But one thing at a time. We got to get our GM. We got to get our head coach. And then we got the draft in 4 months. The sooner the better. They get this staff together, and then they start planning what they're going to do in the offseason. But I'm pumped up, man. We needed change, and we finally got it, man. My heart's still racing a million miles a minute. Marco says, German fans are waking up at midnight. Marco's pumped up. He can't go to sleep. Lou says, today is my birthday, and one of my wishes came true. Cheers. Cheers to, you know what? Just for you, Lou. I'm going to get drunk tonight. Just for you, Lou, I'm going to do a second shot. We already did a victory shot. I'm going to do a birthday shot for Lee. I don't got much left in the tank here. I'm running on empty. But I'm going to do a birthday shot for Lou, man. So congratulations. Happy birthday to you. And I'm glad that your wish came true, man. Cheers to you, man. Time to be happy, Giants fans. Been a long time coming. Anthony says, stand up. Chris, the clown show is over. Yes. See ya. Irish Rover says, successful colonoscopy. Oh, man. Chris B says, no, as a Cowboys fan, I wish they gave Judge a 5-year extension. Ouch, seriously, I'm happy for you, man. Chris, man, I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing your game this week. Cowboys-Niners, I think it's going to be a good game. I'll be at the bar watching it, but I think the Niners are going to win. I really do. But I think it could go either way. I think it's going to be a really good game. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, buddy. Really good game this week between you two guys. Nick DeWick says, is that what it feels like to lose your V card? This might be better. Losing the V card's a little bit awkward. You don't know what you're doing. I think this might be a better. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I think this is probably better. I think this is probably better, Nick. And Mark, man, thank you very much, man. The turf has to be next. The turf should be the first thing to go outside of the coaches and the GMs. They got to change the turf. We've been talking about that for 2 or 3 years. They got to get rid of the turf. Too many injuries with this organization. Get rid of the turf. That's the first thing that's got to go. Pencilman says a total clean out, just like a good animal. God, man, you guys are dirty. Dominic says, I know the fan base is happy. Has Mara changed? I think he has. Listen, I've been a big critic of Mara now for the last 3 years since I've been on YouTube. I've made several videos bashing John Mara. If you're going to bash John Mara as much as you do as a fan, you have to give him credit when he does the right thing. So, yes, I think he changed for the better. You know, I've said now for the last 3, 4, 5 weeks that I think Mara of the 3 teams I root for is the worst owner in recent times, the last 5 or 6 years. He did what he had to do. And now you got to hope that the guys that he brings in get the job done. But, yeah, I do think he's changed. I don't really see anything on this team that he could force on the new GM. He completely cleaned house outside of Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones entering year 4. The GM that's coming in didn't draft Daniel Jones. So I think they're going to have free reign. I think they're going to be able to do what they feel they need to do to build this team right. Andy, man, thank you very much, man. Bills fan here. Joe Schoen is good, but the real catch for you guys would be Dabble. Dabble is a genius. Yeah, I've heard conflicting reports on Dabble. Some Giants fans seem to not be super high on him. They talk about how your offense doesn't run the football a whole lot, and it's kind of helter-skelter. Some of that may have to do with your offensive line, but a lot of people credit Dabble for the success with Josh Allen and the progression he's made as a quarterback. And coming into this year, he was known as a really good offensive coordinator. So if Schoen likes him, I'm all aboard. I'm definitely going to give that pairing a chance. I mean, what they've done with your football team, Buffalo Bills missed the playoffs for 17 years straight. You get Bean, you get Schoen in there. You guys have made the playoffs 4 of the last 5 years. And so obviously they had something to do with drafting Josh Allen. So I'd be completely open to Dabble if that's who Schoen wants. Troy, man, thank you very much. Who you want at 5 and 7? One step at a time, man. Right now I'm celebrating Joe Judge. No, but I mean, who are you talking to, Troy? I want the Hogs. I want the big, beefy Hogs. Well, we got to call them something else because Gettleman's gone. We got to come up with a new name for the offensive lineman. But I want offensive linemen. Definitely with one of the picks, for damn sure. And if Evan Neal's there, man, I'm running to the hills. But we need linemen, man. You look at this team right now, all we got is Andrew Thomas, and that's it in terms of offensive linemen that I trust going forward. So that's what I'm going to be pushing on my channel. Maybe other people will be pushing different things on theirs. I'm going to be pushing taking the lineman because that is what I think is the right thing to do this offseason. John, man, thank you very much. Take that clown off your green. Oh, he'll be gone. John, tomorrow, I don't know if we'll be able to get a permanent green screen. I don't know if we'll be able to get a permanent green screen tomorrow, but he will be off that green screen. We're going to have a completely different permanent green screen within a couple of weeks. He will be gone. Good call. I didn't even think about that. The winning chapter of a YouTube career starts today. Let's go, Big Blue. John, man, thank you so much. John actually left a really nice comment in one of my recent videos, man. I just so you know, I really appreciated your comment. I forgot you said something about how you really appreciate my work, and that was a nice thing of you to say. So I just want to let you know that. J-Man, thank you very much, man. Kind of tells you they are also firing Barkley and Jones. You might have to push quarterback up the priority list in the draft, quarterback draft or not. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know what they're going to do with the players on the roster. Obviously, nobody's safe. But even if they were to move on from Jones, like say they trade Jones or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to draft a quarterback. They could sign a quarterback. They could get a stopgap. They could try to trade for a quarterback. Who knows? I still am leaning they'll go with Jones at a backup, but that's far from a sure thing. Nothing is a sure thing right now when you bring in a completely new regime. They could. If they really like a quarterback, they could certainly draft one. All you got to do, like say we hire Schoen, not that he was the GM, but he was part of it. A lot of people weren't super high on Josh Allen. He was thought to be a project, a guy with a ton of upside. Obviously, the Bills hit on that pick. If they feel like one of these guys in this draft has that kind of upside, maybe they would. In the end, I'm going to lean that I don't think they will, but I'm not going to rule it out as an impossibility. And if they do, I'm going to hope that they make the right decision. Same thing that I did when Dave Gettleman took Daniel Jones. 24 seconds, man. Thank you very much. Low-key, the best thing that happened this season was Jones' injury because Judge looked 10 times more incompetent. Yeah, I mean, I think where it like really started to creep into my head that this is really possible that he could be fired. It really didn't even have much to do with the team's performance. The 11-minute tire, the 11-minute rant is really when I started to say to myself, wow, Joe Judge might be out of a job. When he went on that rant, because I kind of equate it to like YouTube. It's almost like a YouTuber, because on YouTube, if you watch YouTubers or if you're a YouTuber yourself, you'll get a lot of trolls, especially as you grow. It's almost like Joe Judge gave into the trolls, and he had like a mental breakdown. And he talks about a guy that He talks about how he's this coach that basically has all his T's crossed, all his I's dotted. For him to have a mental breakdown, it just didn't look good. And then ESPN, the mainstream media, went after him. And I think that was really the beginning of the end for Joe Judge. Had that not happened, he might still be the head coach for the New York Giants. Mike Nixon, man, thank you very much, man. What do you think we do at quarterback now that Jones has no ties to the new? Mike, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. It's going to come down to what they feel about the quarterbacks in this draft. If they love a quarterback, they'll take him. If they don't, they roll with Jones. I mean, that's all it comes down to. Or if they feel there's a trade out there worth trading, who knows? I mean, maybe we'll get a better idea of what they're going to do when we hear what the general manager has to say. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. I have no idea. I'm not in those interviews. We'll get a better idea where this team is headed around free agency when you see the players that they're going to cut, the players that they're going to bring in. But really, until after the draft, I'm not going to be able to answer that question. We could think we know what they're going to do. We didn't think they were going to draft Daniel Jones. They did. So I honestly don't know what they're going to do with Jones. There's no ties now. So if they don't think Jones is the long-term answer and they like a quarterback in this draft, they could take one. We'll see. But thank you, Mike, man. I appreciate it. And Visk, man, thank you for becoming a member. Stand up, new member. Welcome to the squad, my man. Thank you so much, buddy. And let's see what we got. Let me catch up. Jason says, hallelujah, Marin Tisch did the right thing. Now, let's send the jet to Ann Arbor and kidnap Harbaugh to East Rutherford and make him sign up. All I'm going to tell you is this. I can't tell you now. I can tell you at one point, Jim Harbaugh was open to being a New York Giant. Whether or not Mara would be open to Harbaugh, I don't know. That's all I'll say. And I don't know. I'm not going to say that I think he's going to get the job. I don't even know if he's leaving Michigan. But he's clearly a name that would get a lot of people excited. Justin, thank you very much. I hope they don't switch back to the 4-3. I think there was a lot of growing pains when we switched to the 3-4. Again, it'll come down to the coaching staff and the defensive coordinator they bring in. Patrick Graham's going to be out of here more than likely. Maybe they will retain him. Who knows? But usually when you have a coaching shift, they're going to bring in their own guys. That's what it'll come down to. But a lot of the guys we drafted were meant for the 3-4, but you can't just think about next year. It's about the next 3 or 4 years. So if you bring in a defensive coordinator who wants to switch to the 4-3, you're going to switch to the 4-3. You're not going to just think about next year. This isn't a team that's going to compete for a Super Bowl next year. And really, when you look at this defense, I mean, who's a part of the long-term future on this defense? You've got McKinney. You've got Leonard Williams for another year after next year, perhaps, and then you're probably going to move on from him unless you re-sign him to another contract. But again, no ties there. Logan Ryan will be gone after this year. Bradbury will probably play his last year next year with the Giants unless they extend him. But again, no ties there. Probably won't be back. May even be cut. It's $12 million in savings. So there's not a lot of hope. There's not really a lot of guys on this defense that are like cemented as being long-term answers. So I think they could build this defense in terms of the scheme the way they want long-term. Same thing with the offense and everything else. Next year, I'm going to next year expecting 12 wins. They're gonna start building this team. It's almost like it's a newborn baby. That's the way I look at it. And you hope that baby grows up real quick. Hell yeah, we did it. What's going on, Sills? Lotta says, Eagles fan saying, congratulations, Giants. Lotta, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, man, I appreciate the support. Thank you for watching the content. You're the man. I hope you get your ass kicked this week. I'm sorry, buddy. I hope you get your ass kicked. Pluggage, man, thank you very much. 3 head coaches, 5 offensive coordinators for Daniel. He deserves better. He does. But Daniel may not be the quarterback here long term. He may not be. Daniel Jones got screwed. I'm not saying that Daniel Jones is a great quarterback. Daniel Jones got screwed. And it just speaks to how bad of an organization the New York Giants are. Like you said, he's had 3 head coaches since he's been in the league. He's played 3 years. He's played 3 years. He's had 3 head coaches since he's been in the NFL now. He's had 3 different offensive coordinators since he's been in the NFL now. They haven't built an offensive, they completely failed Daniel Jones. And when you have to hope as a Giants fan, if they do move on from Daniel Jones, that they don't treat the next quarterback as bad as they treated him, as bad as they treated Saquon Barkley, as bad as they treated all these players and didn't set them up for success. It was a disaster. The New York Giants failed all their players like they've done over the last 5 years. It's been a freaking disaster. Why do you think you see all these players that leave the Giants? They're better everywhere else. Pluggers, man, thank you very much, buddy. Let's see. And Larry says, now I hope we get a good GM with a solid vision and focused coaching staff. Now, what about the quarterback? That's the next question. That's the golden question, Larry, and we don't know. We don't know. And if you're asking me, I'm going to continue to say what I've been saying. I do not want to draft a quarterback in this draft. I do not want to draft a quarterback in this draft. Nothing is going to change my opinion. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. That doesn't mean what I say is what's going to happen. That's my opinion. I'm sure several people in this chat want to take a quarterback. I don't want to take a quarterback. I want to stick with Jones, and I want to bring in a backup that can compete with him for a year, build up this team, wait till the following year when it's perceived to be a better quarterback draft class, and go out and take my shot then when I have a better supporting roster. That's what I want to do. That may not be what the GM wants to do. And if it's not, I got to trust him and hope that he does the right thing. Just like I did this offseason. I didn't agree with what the Giants did. Giants completely neglected the offensive line. Do you think that that's something that I agree with? No. I hated that decision. I hope that they made the right choice, and I'll hope that they make the right choice if they take a quarterback in this year's draft. Larry, man, thank you very much, buddy. And Avery says, Joe Judge never got a fair chance. I feel bad for him. He didn't. Joe Judge, he didn't. I mean, he's not a good coach, but he didn't get a fair chance. Maybe he'll learn. Maybe he'll grow. Maybe he'll become a great head coach in the future. He could. There's been several head coaches that fell in their first spot, and then they learn. They go to another destination, and they grow as coaches. But it was the right decision to move on from Joe Judge. It was the right decision. It was the right decision. Not, like I've said several times in a lot of my videos, not everything in the NFL is fair. It's not. Somebody just talked about Daniel Jones. It was not fair to Daniel Jones to come into the situation that he did. Not everything's fair. If you can't make it work, sometimes you got to move on. And I think the New York Giants, it was a tough decision, but it was the right one. Daniel, man, thank you very much, man. Started disliking Judge the minute he said the first 4 games is an extension of preseason. Don't compare. Daniel, I said that. I brought that up going into the season. I wouldn't say that I disliked him when I heard that, but I even said that several times. I was like, I don't like hearing that. I don't want my head coach saying that. Like the first year, it made sense. The pandemic, you had no preseason, you had no training camp. I was like, okay, first year head coach. They're not acclimated to anything, new schemes. I treated the first 6 games as preseason. I was like, okay, this is a whatever year. The second year, when you have a full offseason to prepare your football players like every other team in the NFL, for you to enter the season week 1 saying, we'll get better as the year goes along. First 3 or 4 games, it's like an extension of preseason. No, I don't want to hear that. Because, if you want to say that your team's not going to be as good as they're going to be 10 weeks in, 3 weeks in, sure, but then you could say that for any team in the NFL. So I don't want to hear excuses that it's an extension of the preseason. No, your job as a head coach is to have your team ready to go week 1. And when he said that, I'm completely with you. I was down. I was very upset when I heard that. Let's see what we got. Kevin says, no more looking back. Full steam ahead. Let's go, man. Let's get this team back to where they need to be, man. We love this team, and we don't always agree on everything, but I think most Giant fans agree on this right now. So I'm glad that it seems like a lot of Giants fans are coming together. Nikki says, we have to let the GM build his team. I'm afraid we will draft a quarterback now. I don't care who it is. It would be a mistake. Trade down, get Neal and or Tyler Linderbaum, and draft capital to trade up in next year's loaded quarterback class. Nikki, you're speaking right to me, man. We think alike. We think alike a lot. You know that. I'm definitely going to have you on the channel in the offseason. You know a lot about the draft. You're speaking right to me. You're speaking right through my soul. That's exactly what I want the New York Giants to do in a perfect scenario. Take your lineman, trade down, get future draft capital, potentially double up on the line. Maybe take the BPA defensive player. But like you said, get yourself an extra first-round pick in the 2023 draft. That way you have ammunition to go up and get your quarterback. That would be my line of thinking. I'm with you on that. I think that's a perfect scenario for the Giants. So that's what I hope they do. They certainly have the ability to do it. I mean, the 5th and 7th pick. OGR, man, thank you so much, dude. Jeff is awesome. He has a YouTube channel of his own. Hasn't uploaded in a while, but he's a great guy. I got to meet Jeff at a Giants game about 3 years ago. Daniel Jones' rookie season. He actually threw 4 touchdowns against the New York Jets, man. OGR, good to see you, man. There's still people in the building like Abrams, Pettit, and Chris Mara that need to go. This is a good start, but John Mara seems to be moving in the right direction. Considering his past, I am not counting my eggs before they hatch. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I'm with you on that. I think they need a complete overhaul of the inner workings of the New York Giants football team. Scouts, assistant GMs, everything. Not just the GM, everything. Now, I'll be fair. Do I expect Mara to be fired? Probably not. He's his brother. But outside of that, wipe it clean. And I want Mara fired too, but I don't expect it. But wipe it clean. Get everybody in here new. Let the new GM decide who his scouts are going to be, who his assistant GM is going to be. Let them make the decisions. This New York Giants front office has been a disaster for the last 10 years. It's time for a change. I'm completely with you. They cannot be done yet. There has to be more change. And if you're going to go this far, take it all the way. You know, I'm a New York Mets fan, and a lot of times as a Mets fan, the Mets would always make one big move, and then you'd be like, well, they got to make two more, and they wouldn't do it. They would never go all the way. Giants, if you're going to go this far, go all the way. If you're going to blow it up. Clean this thing out, spick and span. Towel boy, gone. Water boy, gone. We don't even have cheerleaders, but if we did, get them the hell out of here. Everything brand new. I don't even want to have Pepsi in the stadium next year. Make it Coke. Change everything. I'm with you. OGR, man, thank you very much. And let's see what we got here. Ron says, I didn't think that they could continue with Judge once this opposition ball kept rolling and got too big. Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. Once I started to hear the initial reports, because they had fired two previous head coaches after 2 years, Ian Rappaport came out. They're expected just to stay. I was like, they're probably going to let him stay. But like you said, once the national media started pouring on after the 11-minute rant, that's when it came to me. I'm like, okay, this is at least 50-50. This may go somewhere. And I think most Giant fans felt that way. Blue Scale, man, thank you very much, man. I'm happy, but I'm also ready for some more disappointment. Well, yeah. Right now, it's like you got like a shot of adrenaline. I understand. It's like you're cautiously optimistic. You got like a shot of adrenaline, and you're like, let's go. And then you're going to come back in 3 or 4 days. You're going to be like, all right, I'm going to expect the worst and hope for the best. And listen, you're damaged as a Giants fan. I can't tell you that you're wrong for feeling that way. This team has beaten us to a bloody pulp. Oh, man, you didn't have to do that, man. Peter, man, thank you so much, man, for the incredible generosity, man. He says, it's time to make it rain. It's time to make it rain in New York again, man. Pete, you're the man, dude. You always come in here and show so much support for the channel, and I appreciate it, man. I just hope you're as happy as I am. I hope you're as happy as the majority of this people in this chat, and I just hope this New York Giants football team starts winning games for us, man. But, Pete, man, thank you so much, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And Al Batts, he says, thank you, C, for all you continue to do for us fans. After 50 years, I quit after week 4, but hope is back. See you in Dallas. Al, I told you, the next time the New York Giants are playing competent football, I'm going to Dallas. We're going to go to a game in Dallas together. I will be there, and maybe that'll be next year. If this team's not a complete and utter embarrassment, I will make my way to Dallas. That'll be my road game of the year, and I'll definitely go there with you, man. I appreciate the support, buddy, and thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I say it all the time, man. People are like, thank you, Chris. Thank you. Without you guys, I don't have you guys make me want to be a better fan. You know what I'm saying? You guys make me want to be a better fan. I started this YouTube channel completely for fun. Never had any intentions of this growing like it did. It was a hobby. And you guys have made this channel what it is. And you continue to motivate me to continue to try to, make as good a content as I possibly can. So I appreciate that, Al. Grim says, what happens with DJ quarterback? Yeah, I know that is the next huge. No, Grim. The first huge question is who's going to be the GM. Who's going to be the GM? Then the next huge question is who's going to be the head coach. Then I'm going to start to think about the roster. But I'm not even thinking about the roster yet. Right now, I'm thinking about the GM, the head coach. Then, yes, of course, the first position you're going to think about is the quarterback. But first, I want to think about the GM. Then I want to think about the head coach. Then you want to look. Then you're thinking about the offensive coordinator. Everything's going to be new. Like this is going to be just like the other season. Only we're getting a GM on top of it when we hire Joe Judge. So it's going to be a really busy offseason. The next month is going to be that on the channel. That's what it's going to be. The new head coach, the new assistant coach, everything. Then we'll start to get into free agency and the draft and everything else. It's going to be a busy month. J-Man J says, got to give the new GM a 6-year contract because they need the next 2 just to clear all the bad salaries, build through the draft, but find a quarterback. I mean, you always got to find a quarterback. You're not winning this league long-term consistently unless you have a legitimate quarterback. So, yeah, that in the end, that's how a GM is going to be judged. That's the most important position. That's what saves jobs. That's what keeps jobs. You have to be able to find your quarterback. So they're going to have to throw money. If they want to get one of these high-end general managers, they're going to have to throw money at him. And I think they will. Jay Ryder says, time for the rebuild. Let's go, Big Blue. Jay Ryder, man. Let's go, man. Let's go, Giants fans. Michael Jones says, now the fun begins. The GM head coach search is on. Let's go, man. I think it's going to happen fast. I think it's going to happen fast now because if they fire Judge today, I feel like they got the feeling that they probably talked to a guy or two that they're probably going to want, and they found out that he was not going to want Joe Judge, and they made the move now. I think you're going to get your GM within, I'm thinking like 2 or 3 days. Maybe it'll be longer. Maybe it'll be a longer interview process. Maybe it'll be a week. I think it's going to happen pretty quick, and I think once you get your GM, your coach will come pretty quick after. It may even be a package deal. It might. I don't know because the GM, if he's dead set on bringing in the coach that he wants, The Giants may just say, that's your guy, go out and get him. So we'll see. It may not be a drawn-out process. It may be. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to seeing who they bring in. Richard says, icing on the cake, Graham will be gone too. Yes, everybody's gone. I'm not going to celebrate Graham, though. I know a lot of Giants fans don't love Graham. I think Graham is a little bit overrated by some Giants fans. I don't think he's an incredible defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a bad one. I think he was solid with the Giants. I think he was a pretty good defensive coordinator for what he had to work with. You got to factor in that the offense was pitiful. Offense ranked 31st each of the last 2 years, gave the defense no help whatsoever. So I think Graham was a pretty good coach for us, actually. But he's not where, I think you could find a better defensive coordinator. I'll say that. Saeed says, what's next for Joe Judge? I think he goes back to New England. I think he goes back with his tail between his legs, like every coach does that leaves Bill Belichick when they get fired. He's gonna go back to New England. He'll probably get a special teams job and try to build his resume back up again, just like Patricia did, just like several other people have done in the past. That's what I think will happen. I think he's gonna go back to New England. Maybe he goes to Alabama, goes back with Nick Saban, but my guess would be go back to New England. Jason, what's going on? Or maybe he tries to become a head coach at college. Who knows? Jason says, like I told Bad Dog, hope you have some victory scotch. I already took 2 shots. I'll probably do one more before the end of the stream, but I already took 2 shots, Jason. I'll probably do another shot soon, though. Dylan, and in more great New York sports, the Mets just announced they are retiring Keith. That's awesome. That's well-deserved. I'm a big Met fan. You know that. I go to a lot of Yankees games, and there's a lot of Yankees that I'm like, wow, I'm surprised that they retired their number. Keith Hernandez was a big part of that 1986 team. That's well-deserved, man. I'm glad he's getting his number retired. Last year they did, what's his name? They did Jerry Kuzman after forever. So, we the boys, what's going on, man? The chances Daniel Jones is the starter next season. I'll go 50-50 right now. If Judge was back, I would have said like 90-10. But being a completely new regime, I'll go 50-50. I think it's far from a sure thing that Daniel Jones is the starter next year. I'd probably slightly lean that he will be. Regardless, I think there'll be legitimate competition for him with the backup. But it'll come down to the draft, or it'll come down to whether or not they think they should trade for a quarterback, which they probably are not going to feel that way. They're going to want to start to build this roster up the right way and think long-term and not think about the immediate future. So I'm leaning slightly it'll still be Jones, but it's far from a sure thing. J.R. Salazar says, tell Judge go check the tape on that firing. All right. All right, Joe. All right. All right, Joe. I'm going to go look at the tape right there. John Mara, he steps into John Mara's office. Joe, we appreciate everything you did for us, but you're fired. All right. I'm going to go look at the tape. I'll get back to you, John. I'm going to go look at the tape. I'll tell you why I was fired. I'm going to go look at the tape. That's his excuse for everything. Albin, Lawrence Tynes wasn't happy. It said him and former players are pissed and embarrassed. He said for the owners to stop living off their Super Bowls. Lawrence Tynes was not happy. It said him and former players are pissed and embarrassed. He said Lawrence Tynes is not happy that Joe Judge was fired? Really? I mean, that's his opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but what is it? I don't know if that's what you're referencing, but what would him firing Joe Judge have to do with living off the Super Bowls? If anything, this is not living off the Super Bowls. This is saying everything is screwed up. We got to blow this thing up and we got to start over. We're not doing things the right way in this building. We can no longer depend on our reputation to get fans interested in this football team. We need to start doing things the right way. So I don't know if that's what you're referencing, but to me, that doesn't really add up. What's up there, Dire Giants fan, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. And Young, what's going on, buddy? Thank God. All right, best post-Christmas present ever. All right, let's go, Young, man. Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy. Let's go, man. Great late Christmas present, like you said. Let's see. Hopefully I'm getting close to caught up. Ryan says, what are the odds of Rex Ryan getting a call? I mean, anything's possible. I don't really want Rex Ryan. People have brought him up to me in the past. I want more of an offensive-minded head coach, and Rex Ryan, to me, is a disaster for the New York media. I'm not saying he's not a talented coach. He's a great defensive mind. He was one of the best defensive coordinators of my lifetime. He did a great job with the Baltimore Ravens, brought the Jets to 2 AFC title games. I know some people like his charisma and his personality. I do not think he's the type of head coach that I'd want in New York. I just don't. I don't. I want my head coach to go out there and do his job. To me, he's too much. He's too much, in my opinion. Adam, thank you very much, man. Next got to be natural graft and new uniforms. Hey, man, I'm completely for change of everything. Everything. The cups, everything. Change it all. The jock straps, whatever. Change it all. But I know a lot of Giants fans have been calling for new uniforms for a while. Harrison, house cleaning has begun. Mara not done cleaning. I'm sure of that. Will be interesting offseason. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to you, Harrison, man. Thanks so much for popping in, man. I'm sure this is one of your favorite gifts you've ever gotten if you're a diehard Giants fan. And I don't think he's done yet either. I don't. But to circle back to what Jeff said, OGR Sports, I don't think he's done yet either. I really don't. I think they're going to completely fire everybody. Or they're at least going to leave the decision up to the general manager. If he wants to fire everybody and bring in his guys, I think he's going to do it. And if you're Shane or whoever they're going to hire, why wouldn't you do it? So I think everybody's gone. I think everybody's gone. I think it's going to be a complete overhaul. Tyler, man, thank you very much, man. He says, my grandma broke the news to me. She goes, F that guy. Let's go, Tyler. That's awesome. You got an awesome grandma. Mike says, we need one more clown song to close the show at the end of the show. I will try to remember to play the clown song to close out Joe Judge's tenure. Stephen, man, thank you very much. Did we do shots yet? This is a great day. Wish the best for him, though. Yeah, no. Stephen, I'm not going to, I have no, it's not like I'm going to root for the guy to fail. I hope wherever he goes, he does a great job. As long as he doesn't become a head coach within our division, I hope he does a great job. I'm not one of those fans, whatever. I wish him nothing but the best, but I think it was the right decision for the Giants. And I fully acknowledge that it may not have been fair for Joe Judge. Wasn't doing a very good job, though, and he didn't help himself out the last 3 or 4 weeks with some of the things that he did, not just on the field, but off the field. So I think it was the right decision by the Giants. I think they needed to clean house, but I got no ill, feelings toward him. I hope he, becomes a great head coach somewhere else. Jonathan says, stand up. New York Giant fans, hot take, Joe Shane will agree to be the next GM, and he will lead this franchise back to the glory days. From your lips to God's ears, John. From your lips to God's ears, man. Fire the medical staff. Oh, dude, we've been talking about the medical staff for 20 years, man. It's time. I'm with you on that. Gerard says, just had a parting shot of Bailey's for Joe. We'll do one more shot before the end of the stream, man. But I'm glad you guys are getting your shots in. Mighty Mango says, time to get the car. All right, you know what? I'll do it again. You guys are I am going to pass out on this stream before it's over. So it's time to get the Captain Morgan out. Mighty Mango's the man, dude. Thank you for being a member of the channel. And let me get the Captain Morgan out real quick. There we go. Oh, no, this isn't Captain Morgan. This is Jack Daniels Honey Wheat. But I'm going to do one with you, Mighty Mango. We're going for shot number 3. Good thing I ate a big dinner before this. Mighty Mango, cheers to you, man. Let's go. Jeff says, and don't forget your shine box on the way out. Let's go. Great Goodfellas reference right there. One of my favorite movies of all time. John says, end of the Patrick Graham era. I would assume, yeah. I think it's the end of everybody on this coaching staff's era. I think they're all gone. Just via circumstance, new coach who won his own guy, most likely. Yeah, it's very rare. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but it's very rare when you bring in a complete outsider that he's going to want to retain. I mean, we saw it with Judge. He retained some of like the smaller coaches, like the wide receiver coach, and I think the special teams coordinator. But a position as important as that, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, I'd be shocked if Patrick Graham stayed on. Noob says, could this be a sign that John Mara is finally willing to hand the keys over to the qualified individual and let them build a team without interfering? Yes, I think that's exactly what it is. And I think that's what Giants fans are excited about. I mean, right now, if you were a fan that's been complaining about John Mara now, rightfully so, for a long time, what do you have to complain about right now with the decision he just made? He literally just fired everybody. And I don't think he's done. So, yes, I think John Mara is finally doing the right thing. And as a Giants fan, you should be happy. He's catching up with the times, and it looks like he's bringing in a younger GM. Everybody that they brought in is 44 or younger. They're all coming from very good football teams, right? Good organizations. So, yes, I think it is a changing of the times. And I do think he's going to let them do what they got to do. So let's go out there and win some football games. Sean says, Danny, I have no idea. I've been asked that now a couple times, Sean. I wish I could tell you. I don't know. Obviously, the chances are less. The fact that Gettleman's gone and the fact that Joe Judge is gone, the chances are less. Joe Judge took this job knowing that Jones was going to be his quarterback. Gettleman drafted Daniel Jones. So the fact that they're gone, there's no attachment. So the chances are less. That's just realistically speaking. And we don't even know if Daniel Jones is going to be completely healthy, which I think he will be. If I had to guess slightly, I would say yes, but far from a sure thing. Bill, man, thank you very much, man. Mara is an embarrassment of the NFL. Look at his last decade of one terrible decision after the other. I have no faith he will get the GM pick right. Hey, I understand where you're coming from. I'm just glad that it's an outsider and he's thinking outside the box and he's doing it differently. And I understand why you wouldn't have faith in Mara, because this team has been a joke for the last 10 years. It just has. Everything's been on two different timelines, but this is a change to me. He's finally done it the right way. That doesn't mean that the guys that he's going to bring in are going to do it well, but I'm going to have faith and hope that they do. But we'll see. I'm going to obviously give these guys a chance. I'm not going to judge them after 1 year. I'm going to give them 3 years, like I said, and I'm going to hope that they get the job done. Karma, man, thank you very much. Chris, the dream is Adam Peters of the 49ers, and he brings Mike McDaniels, Shanahan's offensive coordinator, a young creative mind to help the offense. Adam Peters, man, when I did my research on him, obviously didn't know much about him. The assistant GM for the San Francisco 49ers, just did the video today. Super impressive. The 49ers created a position just for him to stay there, to become the assistant general manager. A lot of people, I didn't pull it up in the video, but I read on a lot of other blogs that people felt like he was inevitably going to be the future GM for the 49ers. So he's an impressive candidate, had success also with the Denver Broncos. So he's definitely a guy that's among one of my favorites to land that job for the New York Giants, no doubt about it. As far as Mike McDaniel, Shanahan's OC, now I don't know the inner workings of that team. I don't know if I'm assuming Shanahan calls the plays, being that he was a great OC before he got that job. So I don't know. So I would have to do more research on him before I could talk about Mike McDaniels. Fabian says, Tana, change the account to Fabian Albiar. Okay. You didn't have to tell me that. You didn't have to donate, man. Thank you so much, buddy. And yeah, I saw you comment on my video earlier. You said that something went wrong with your account. Jova, man, thank you very much. You like taking a shot every time the New York Giants win. At least Judge didn't give you a chance to become an alcoholic. I might tonight, though. Now he's making me an alcoholic. Brandon says, let's go. Judgment Day has come. I feel like I'm watching the Terminator. Terminator 2, one of my favorite movies of all time. Let's go, man. Dominic, no longer hogs. Bring on the fat boys. I'm going to have a poll. I'll put it out on Twitter. We're going to have to come up with a new name for the offensive line, because we ain't calling it hogs anymore, because that's a Dave Gettleman line. We got to move on from Dave. We got to get him out of our head. We have to come up with a new name. Maybe it'll be Fat Boys. JT says, I'm a Cowboys fan till the Giants win 2 games back-to-back or drop Jones. So you're not a Giants fan? I don't. JT, I appreciate the donation, but how in the world could you consider yourself a Giant? Like, I can understand fans that are fed up. First off, how are you not happy right now if you've been fed up with the organization? They fired the GM and they fired the head coach. They literally blew it all up. But if you're a Giants fan, how in the world could you say that you're going to root for the Cowboys? What? No, that's the enemy. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I cannot get on board with that. Let's see what we got here. Pencilman says the current staff might want to rent a U-Haul, then clean it out that way. Perhaps, man. Thank you so much, Pencilman. I appreciate it, buddy. And Isaiah, what's going on, man? I prefer the 4-3. That's New York Giants football. Glad to see Isaiah, man. Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy. Listen, man, I think I prefer the 4-3 as well. I don't mind if they switch to the 4-3. Like I said, there's not a lot of long-term pieces on this defense to begin with. MY Giants 26 says Dabble would work wonders with Malik Willis. A lot of Giants fans are going to want Malik Willis. He's a popular name. We'll see. We'll see, man. I'm obviously going to do all my research on all these prospects. He's definitely got some faults to his game, though. He's very inaccurate. Will says, as a Finns fan, I'm happy for you guys. Clown Judge is awful. And if you get Flo, you're going to be getting an amazing defensive mind who has struggled to hire offensive coaching staff, which is his main problem. Yeah, a lot of people in my stream yesterday were saying, should we bring in Flores to be the OC? I'm like, no. I like Flores a lot as a coach, but that's where Miami has struggled. I mean, your offense has been subpar, but yeah, I'd be completely open to giving Flores an interview. I know some people may say I don't want another Belichick guy, but I think he's been one of the better head coaches in the NFL. I think the problem there with you guys is he didn't get along with upper management. Shaman says still stunned by those quarterback sneaks, but what? I can't even say it. My voice is gone, but he's celebrating. I'm with you, man. Dude, the first one I understood. The first one I was like, okay, you're backed up on your own 2. It's second down. You want to make sure you get those 2 yards to give your punter a little bit more room to punt the ball. Didn't say a word. 3rd and 9 in a game that means nothing. Throw the football. Who cares? Throw the football. Don't go down dying like a dog. Made no sense. And run amok, man. Thank you very much, man. Tommy C back as our GM the second time around. Nah, Tom Coughlin. Nah, man. Tom Coughlin is he's got to be up there in age. Obviously, he's not the biggest fan of Mara to begin with. You remember how he walked off the stage after they fired him? No, I don't think so. I don't see Tom Coughlin coming in as the general manager. It's going to be one of these guys they brought in. It's going to be one of these 7 or 8 guys they brought in. Jay Stop says, what a great day. We got a gift. But I love Tom, by the way. Love Tom. We got a gift that most of all wanted. Finally, nice to see Mara change. Can't wait for the draft. Keep up the good work, Chris. Go Giants. There's going to be a lot of off-season content. Hope you hang around. Definitely have a lot of videos up for you guys. Certainly going to have videos up tomorrow with all the rumors that are going to be coming out. And I was going to make a Dave Gettleman video tomorrow. It keeps getting pushed back. There's too much important news right now to make a video saying I was wrong about Dave Gettleman. There's too much going on right now with this team. And tomorrow we're going to probably hear some rumors about the GM search. We may hear some potential coaches that they're interested in. Stuff is going to leak, and it's going to leak fast. So there's going to be a lot to talk about in the next couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much, Jay. And Chime says, Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator. Yeah, he just got fired, obviously, from the Denver Broncos, and a lot of people were saying that the dream would be pairing him and Jim Harbaugh together, and maybe that's a guy that they look to bring in here. Who knows, man? Adam says, when I get the notification, I danced. Want to hear head coaching prospects? I mean, off the top of my head, the 3 names that I'm going to give you, and I'll do a lot more research on this, and I'm sure there's going to be rumors of guys that we could bring in. But off the top of my head, it's going to be Harbaugh, who I've already talked about, Brian Flores, who was just fired by the Miami Dolphins, and Dabble. And because Dabble's got obviously very strong ties to Shane, but there's a number of other guys that are going to be talked about that the New York Giants may be bringing in. But those are the 3 guys off the top of my head. We'll see. We'll see what comes out and who the New York Giants are potentially interested in. But Harbaugh's a guy that I've been pushing for. I've been pushing for him for a while. I just don't think it's going to happen. But you know what? Mara looks like he's changing. So who knows? Thomas says, this is so sad. No more circus music. Just kidding. I couldn't be more happy. Finally, we get to start over. Tom, I'm with you, man. It's about time, man. We knew it had to happen. And like I said, I never want to root for somebody to be fired, but it had to happen. David, he says, the Grim Reaper of careers came a day late so he could sharpen his Sith before taking Judge to unemployment. Bye-bye, Clown Show Joe. Oh, my God. Bad Dog, I got to give Bad Dog credit for that. Bad Dog, I don't know if he started it because I did see, like, clown photos of Joe Judge, I think, before he said it, but he was the first one I remember him saying the term. And then Joe Judge probably did hear his video, and that's why he said it in his press conference. Frank says, I feel bad for Jones if he goes. He deserves better. And 2 years of stunted growth, and he did everything to improve. I do too. I feel bad not just for Jones. I feel bad for a lot of players on this team. I feel bad for Barkley. I know a lot of Giants fans don't, but it's not his fault he was drafted 2nd overall. It's not his fault that the Giants didn't give him an offensive line. It's not his fault that he tore his ACL. I feel bad for a lot of players on this team that were not supported the right way, and it speaks to the failures of Dave Gettleman. Speaks to the failures of the players before that to Jerry Reese. It speaks to the failures of Joe Judge. It speaks to the failures of Pat Shurmur. It speaks to the failures of James Betcher. It's been a disaster, man. The coaching and the GMs have been horrible. Rob says, I've been a pessimistic fan, but I'm really excited about the candidates they're interviewing for GM. I just want to see some quality football. We all do, Rob. And I don't know. I'm never going to blame anybody for being pessimistic. That's just the way I am. I'm always going to be a glass half full guy. I'm never going to change. But there comes a point like this year where the glass is empty. I can't be glass half full anymore. So I just want to have some hope. And I'm not talking about hope about making the playoffs next year. I'm not talking about hope of winning a Super Bowl next year. I'm talking about hope that this team could be something good in the near future. I want to see something that is growing, and hopefully they hit the ground running this offseason. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. And Reed, man, thank you very much. Stand up, new member. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it. DJ did not get screwed. Was it fair to have 3 different systems? No, but he had a second-round talent who should have gone in the middle of this. Well, yeah, in terms of financially, Matt, that's a good point you bring up. He probably shouldn't have been the 6th overall pick. So financially, he didn't get screwed. I think on the field, he got screwed, but financially, he didn't get screwed. And Mark, man, thank you very much, man. I haven't been this happy since our last Super Bowl. Yeah, somebody said that earlier. I think that was my first donation. Somebody said that earlier, and it's probably true. It's probably true. Maybe people were the same when they completely blew it up in 2018, but then things went south real quickly with that draft, and a lot of people were against what they did. So hopefully that doesn't happen this offseason. And Al, man, thank you very much, man. I left 2 tickets to Jerry World for you in my will because you said not until the Giants are respectable. Damn, I may need to redo my will and get you tickets sooner now. Nah, I think they're going to be respectable sooner than you think. And maybe I'm too optimistic, but I think they're going to be respectable sooner than you think. And yeah, man, I'll get that. As long as the Giants are like 0-7, I'll get down there this year. I told you I'm going to go to a Cowboys game, and I'll be there, man. As long as they're not like a complete dumpster fire, I'll be there. Jay Stubbs, man, thank you very much, man. Celebrating with my girlfriend, Mary Jane. This W that we've deserved for so long. Hashtag 420 Crew. Hashtag Big Blue. Smoke them if you got them. Smoke it up, man. You deserve it, man. And Reed, man, thank you so much, man. I don't want a quarterback in this draft either, but if Matt Corral is available, then I say take him and steal him from Washington. He's a natural-born leader. He's going to be available. He's a natural-born leader and one hell of a player. I would think he's going to be available. I mean, maybe he surprises at the combine and somebody falls in love with him and Detroit takes him or something like that. But more than likely, Matt Corral is going to be available. Very few people have Matt Corral going near what we're picking in the first round. I will say out of the quarterbacks that I've watched so far, I don't want to take a quarterback, including Matt Corral. I don't think any of them were in a top 7 pick in this draft, in my opinion, especially with the roster that we currently have. But I do like him. He's probably so far to the quarterbacks I've watched, and I got to do more. I got to look into him more. But I like some of the. I like his arm strength. I'll say that. Matt, thank you very much. Patrick Graham stays. Ryan Poles and Eric Bieniemy comes in. No quarterbacks worth replacing Jones in the draft. Giants better than their record. No more overhauls. Patrick Graham stays. Ryan Poles and Eric Bieniemy comes in. No quarterbacks worth replacing Jones in this draft. Giants better than their record. No more overhauls. I would agree that I think this Giants team is better than their record. Some of that due to poor coaching. A lot of that due to injuries. I definitely think, I've had this argument with people in my Discord the past week. I think the Giants are good if they even stay relatively healthy next year. I don't think it's unreasonable to think they can win 7 games. I'm not going to make any predictions next year because people kill you for that when you're wrong. But I don't think they're as bad as a 4-1 team. I think injuries definitely contributed to that, and the coaching certainly didn't help. As far as the pairing that you brought up, if we were to hire Ryan Poles, Eric Bieniemy is obviously a very strong possibility because Poles comes from Kansas City. And much like if you were to hire the Buffalo guy, he could potentially bring on Brian Daboll. So people have talked, if you hire Poles, he could bring Eric Bieniemy. Poles is a guy I like, and I know he's not getting as much talk as some of the other candidates. He'd probably be third for me, but I like him a lot. I do. I think he's done some really good things from what I've read with Kansas City. I'm not a Kansas City fan. I'm not inside that front office, but obviously Kansas City's been a really good organization. They love the guy. They said he's the right-hand man to the general manager. You look at what Kansas City was able to do for that offensive line this year. He had to have something to do with it. He's a former offensive lineman. He's part of making the decisions with that football team. So I think he's at least an interesting candidate that the Giants are bringing in. That's for damn sure. But Mike, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Biden's leg hair. He says, I'm bricked up right now. Biden, I didn't even know you had leg hair at this point. But and Ellis says, damn, we fired Judge already. I was still watching the tape. Oh, well, Whataburger on me. I appreciate that, Ellis, man. I love Whataburger. I've only been there once, but Texas, I love Whataburger. But thank you so much, buddy. Kid Cold Chris says, Tana, check out Pat Leonard's Twitter. All right, let me take a quick look. I'm sure Twitter's going crazy. And I'm going to be live on Twitter tomorrow. I told you guys I was going to do that today. This was too big for me not to go live on YouTube. Okay. 33 minutes ago. Not sure if this is out there yet, but add a 9th GM candidate to the... Ooh, this might be my favorite. This has been a guy so many of my subscribers have said they love. And I'm going to tell you what, if there is one organization that draft as well as anybody, it's the Baltimore Ravens. The New York Giants are bringing in Joe Ortiz of the Baltimore Ravens. So many of my subscribers have pointed him out to me. Baltimore drafts as well as anybody. I am very interested in that candidate as well. Giants are bringing in a lot of good candidates. That's a good one. That's a good one for sure. I'll definitely do some more research on him and probably have a video talking about him tomorrow as well. But I like that one. John, man, thank you very much. Stand up, the entertainer. Glad to see you happy. But I hope the Giants suffer for 53 years without a Super Bowl. So how about you root for the Eagles? You couldn't pay me to root for the Eagles, John. I hope you guys get demolished. Love you, John, but I ain't root for your football team. I hope you guys get demolished, and I hope the same for you. John, man, thank you very much. Tyler says, we better hope the next DC runs a 5-3 because this entire defense is built and drafted for that. The current defense, I agree. We don't know how they're going to shape that we don't know who they're going to decide to keep and who they're going to decide to draft to bring into this team. But for next year, yeah, we'll see what they decide to do. We'll see what they decide to do in terms of the defensive scheme and the defensive coordinator that they bring in. But if the defense struggles because of shift in scheme for 1 year, because they think the long-term vision is a 4-3, I'm not gonna cry about it. I'll get on board with it and say, okay, it's not just about next year; it's about the next 4, 5, 6 years, and they're gonna bring guys in that they feel that could fit that scheme. So we'll see. I don't think that you could just make decisions based off the scheme off 1 year. Let's see what we got. Oh man, I'm trying to catch up with you guys, man. I am sweating down here. And let's see. Christian says, can I get a shout out to my dad, Diego? Love the content, man. Let's go Giants. Christian, man, thank you so much for popping in. And thank you for your dad for being a supporter of the channel as well. Thank you guys for watching. And let's go Giants, man. Big changes coming, man. And I hope you're as excited as I am, man. Pat Leonard's Twitter, everybody's saying I'm way behind on the chat. I see I'm like 25 minutes behind. So I'm still trying to catch up. But I did see it. So wow, I like that. I like that. Philip says, I can hear your happiness all the way to Denmark. Let's go, man. Let's go. Sorry, I was behind on the chat, guys. I'm trying to catch up. Independent says, what players have to go? Solder's gone. Ingram's gone. Ingram's a free agent, so he's gone. All the free agents are gone outside of potentially Lorenzo Carter. He's the one guy that I'd be interested in bringing back in terms of the high-profile free agents. I think Ingram's gone. I think Pepper's gone. I think Hernandez's gone. Solder's gone. Ingram's gone. And then with cuts, Riley Dixon's gone. Kyle Rudolph's gone. And then you got guys like Martinez who could potentially be gone because of the salary that he's eating up. Could try to restructure it, but all those guys are gone. I don't see them bringing back any of those free agents. We're kind of tight as is. We know that our salary cap's tight as is. And if the Giants are long-term thinking, they say, well, we had nothing to do with these guys. Let's let them go. Let's let them sign elsewhere. Let's get those future draft picks, get those compensation picks. I think that's going to be the plan this offseason. I think it's going to be forward thinking. But yeah, man, they brought in that was a good candidate. The Giants are bringing in some impressive candidates. Nick, man, thank you very much, man. Coach Chaos took a job with Duke, sailed to Florida. And I already knew sailed to Florida like a month ago. Bobby Skinner actually told me about that. And I saw rumors on Twitter. But that was kind of a hint as well, right? When you started to see Rob Sale talking poorly about his players, when you started to see other coaches, taking jobs elsewhere, when you heard that Patrick Graham was going to be open to taking a head coaching job, when he said the Giants were his dream job, it led you to believe that there was a strong possibility that things were going to really shake up real quick. It was just a matter of whether or not John Mara was going to be able to, be sold on moving on from Joe Judge. Muted Growl, what's going on, man? Been a loyal Giants fan for 35 years. It's sad to see our community celebrating a coach firing like this. I believe Judge could be a good coach, but he was put in a terrible spot. Listen, I understand where you're coming from, and I know some fans may look at it like, they shouldn't be celebrating like that. It's poor taste. I understand. But I think as Giants fans, we look at it like this team's not going anywhere fast. Joe Judge has proven nothing. I don't want Joe Judge preventing us from bringing in the best general manager possible. And it's not only that. Like, yes, can you find a general manager to work with Joe Judge? Sure. But then what are you going to do? Then you're going to bring in an offensive coordinator, work with Joe Judge for a year to try to fix this offense. You bring in a good OC, and if you fire Judge, you blow it up all over again. If you're going to start from scratch with the GM, bring in the head coach. So I don't even know if people are celebrating because Joe Judge is unemployed. I'm sure some Giants fans are. But I think the majority of Giants fans that are happy are celebrating because there's a dramatic change, and they knew that it was necessary. They knew that the New York Giants had to start from the ground up. I don't think the majority of the blame goes on Joe Judge. I think the majority of the blame goes on John Mara. I think the majority of the blame goes on Dave Gettleman. Joe Judge is just a part of it. But he didn't do a good enough job he didn't do a good enough job this year to outweigh the negatives that could come from bringing him back as the head coach. That was always my mindset. So anybody that, is happy that there's change, I see nothing wrong with it. But again, everybody's entitled to their opinions. Let's see. And Euphoric, man, thank you so much, man, for the $1 donation, man. I appreciate it, buddy. And Frank says reports are that it was the players who wanted Joe Judge out. Yeah, I saw rumors. I don't think individual players came out, but I saw rumors like a week ago. I forgot who. I think it was Jay Glazer said that from within the locker room that there was problems that people don't know about from within the New York Giants locker room. And you have to, most people assumed when he said that the players aren't completely sold on Joe Judge. So I'll definitely take a look at that on Twitter, but I wouldn't be surprised. Sergio says this just in, John Mara will become the next GM for the Giants. His brother will step in as head coach. All computer guys have been given a raise. Sergio, you trying to kill me, man. You trying to kill me, man. JT says Brian Flores just won 7 straight. You don't got to convince me on Brian Flores. I like Brian Flores, and that was long before he was fired. I've talked up Brian Flores on this channel a lot. I'm impressed with him. You want to talk about a guy that the team does not quit for him. 1-7. That team went out there. They won 8 out of their last 9, and they beat a New England Patriots game when the Patriots were playing for the division. Brian Flores took a team his first year there that nobody thought was going to win a game. They won 5. You don't got to sell me on Brian Flores. And Martinez, man, thank you very much, man. The empty seats on Sunday was the final straw. It's not like the Knicks who sell out regardless of performance of the team. That definitely had something to do with it as well. The optics, only having 25,000 people there, people with bags over their heads. I think the Giants knew. I think they saw what the fan base had to say, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be social media, whether it be the media, and they knew that dramatic change was needed, and they gave in. Pat Leonard. I already read Pat Leonard, Adrian, man. I already read Pat. I know I'm way behind. But I already read Pat Leonard. Nico says, if feasible, do you keep Gates if he could play again and Hernandez for depth? Do you think Hernandez could play with a competent line around him? I would not keep Hernandez. The only way I'd keep Hernandez is if it was like a 1-year deal. But no, other than like if Hernandez is going to be able to get like a 4-year deal, 3-year deal on the open market, he's gone. And Hernandez has not been set up well. I understand that. He's played on both sides of the line. He was playing a new position this year. He's playing next to Nate Solder. He could be a somewhat competent lineman, I suppose. But if Will Hernandez is going to warrant a 3 or 4 year contract on the open market, sayonara. As far as Nick Gates goes, I have no idea. The guy's had 7 leg surgeries. I'm rooting for him. It'd be a great story if he came back and played great with the Giants. Again, a guy with no ties to the incoming GM and the head coach or anything else. So he's got a lot to prove. He's got to prove that he's healthy, come back. If he looks strong, sure, why not? But I'm not going to bank on it. They cannot go into next year assuming that Nick Gates is going to step in and be a great offensive lineman for this football team. I think what the Giants are going to do, and I'm going to have several free agency videos. I have not even really taken a deep dive into this year's free agency class around the league because I don't think the Giants are going to have a whole lot of money. But the more that I think about it, the more I do think some of the money that they do have when they make cuts, when they make adjustments, is going to be spent on an interior offensive lineman. Not necessarily a long-term option, but somebody who could step in there for a year or two and man the fort and probably replace Will Hernandez. Because we talk about that we need to draft linemen, but you can't expect the Giants to go out there and draft 3 or 4 starters that are ready to go and play at a high level year 1. So I do think they're probably going to have to sign a lineman, but I don't think it'll be Hernandez because I do think Hernandez, because of his age, a team's going to look at him and say, we could improve this guy in the right situation, and they'll be willing to give him a decent contract. And I don't think the Giants will be that team. So that's my take on Hernandez. Boom, man, thank you very much, man. Man, don't listen to no kicker, man. What's going on, man? Thank you so much for popping in, man. I appreciate it, buddy. Man. And Joe Nash says our special teams will get better. They probably will. I mean, our special teams under Joe Judge got worse. They got worse. And thank you so much, Joe Nash, man. But that was something that I said time and time again. That was something that you could definitely critique Joe Judge on. The way that the special teams performed for this New York Giants football team. It was lackluster. It was subpar. He was supposed to come in here and be this great special teams coordinator. It got worse when he became the head coach for the New York Giants. So it probably will get better. Silly Parody says, with you on a trade down, but is that tough to do in a down quarterback? Here, finally some hope. Let's go. Yeah, silly Parody. By no means am I saying that it's like a lock. I'm not even going to go into the draft expecting them to do it because, like you said, in a rich quarterback draft class, it's always going to be a lot easier to trade down, right? Because generally, higher in the draft, that's what people are going to be trading up for. It's very rare you're going to see somebody trading up into the top 5 for a non-quarterback. So somebody would have to be sold on a quarterback. So I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, but if they can, I think it's something that they need to explore. But I'm with you. I'm not going into the offseason expecting that will happen. I think it could, but it's far from a sure thing. Carlos, man, thank you very much. Yo, Chris, I was B. Flores. He's from New York. He grew up I know he's from New York. He grew up a Giants fan. He's a leader of men, well-respected, and isn't for the bull. Sidebar for you, he's a Mets fan. He's in. Get him in. Get him in. If Brian Flores is a Mets fan, he's the New York Giants next head coach. Get him in here. You don't got to sell me on Brian Flores. Brian Flores is one of my favorite head coaches in the league. Some of the interviews I've seen, I like him. And I know the reputation is he has not gotten along with, coaches on his staff. They turn it over. Obviously, upper management didn't like him. There was kind of a power struggle there. It kind of reminds you of Jim Harbaugh. but the results are there. J-Man, thank you very much, man. Firing Gettleman was football Viagra. Firing Circus Boy Joe blew up a giant load. J-Man, Jay's a pervert, man. Jay's a pervert, man. Gustavo says, finally, let's go. New blood coming in. We need it, man. We're getting a blood transfusion, man. Celebrate, man. Let's go, New York Giants. Oh, James, man, thank you so much, man. My crypto is back up and Judge is gone. All is right with my world. Oh, you got a lot of money in crypto? James, man, thank you so much, man, for the support. James is awesome, man. He's a Nets fan. That's okay. He's always in my stream, support me. Really good guys. So thank you so much for being here. I always see you on Twitter, and I hope you're as happy as I am. I know you are. Austin, what's going on, man? Get the sips in. I missed the last one. You guys are going to kill me. Austin, I'm sorry you had to wait for that. But you guys, thank you so much for the incredible generosity, Austin, man. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. You're going to kill me, man. We ain't got much left. This is my 4th shot on stream. I am going to literally pass out as soon as the stream is over. But this is for you, man. Let's celebrate, New York Giants fans. Stand up, New York Giant fans. I'm excited, man. You know, I went through a period there as like a New York Giants content creator in season where I was like, I need a break. Like, this team has broken me. I am super excited to talk Giants football. I can't wait. I can't wait to talk Giants football with you guys, man, this offseason. I can't wait to dive into it, get my teeth into it, and start talking about how we're going to start to fix this football team and get this team back on track. I'm excited, man, and I hope you guys are too. Big Kane says, we need new uniforms next year. Go Giants. I think most Giant fans feel the same way you do. I've been hearing that suggestion for since I've been on YouTube. People are saying we need to change the uniforms, and I'm with it, man. We need something completely new. We need something completely new. So I'm open to it. And yeah, I already checked Pat Leonard's Twitter. I'll check it again, Austin, just in case it was something new. I'm sorry I was running so far behind on the chat. Let me take a quick look just in case it was something new. Pat Leonard. Nope, still the same thing. So they are bringing in Joe Ortiz from the Baltimore Ravens, which is a great potential hire. I'm excited about that. A lot of people have been I'm actually going to be on Patricia Traina's channel this week, so it might even be earlier. We were going to do it Friday, but now big news broke, so we may do it tomorrow. I don't know what her schedule is. And that was actually one of the candidates that she really liked. So I know that she's excited about it. I know a lot of Giants fans have brought him up to me. And obviously, the Baltimore Ravens have drafted as well as almost any organization in football over the last 8, 9, 10 years. So he's definitely a guy that would really intrigue me as a Giants fan. Al, man, thank you very much, man. Judge promised to punch in the nose for 60 minutes. Thank goodness we fans no longer will get nosebleeds. My Italian nose can't take that no more. Yeah, he was punching the fans in the face for 60 minutes, Al. He was punching us fans in the face for 60 minutes. That's the way it felt at the end. And George, man, thank you very much. Any chance they bring Jimmy G in, sign and trade? Well, Jimmy G's not a free agent. Jimmy G's still under contract. He's due $27 million next year. So he's still under contract next year. So maybe if you're talking about an extension. But for me, Jimmy Garoppolo is not worth that, in my opinion. The only reason I thought that Jimmy Garoppolo was a realistic possibility this offseason was because if Joe Judge was going to stay on as the head coach because of his connections to Joe Judge, because of the connections to our quarterback coach. Joe Judge is gone. I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a difference maker. And I know Jimmy Garoppolo's done pretty good things for the 49ers, made a Super Bowl. He's in the playoffs this year. Jimmy Garoppolo's injury prone. He's a decent quarterback, but he's not a guy that I'm giving up draft capital for at this point in time, especially with the salary that he makes. I just don't think it adds up. Ethan, man, thank you very much, man. It's time to get Joe the hell out of your background. Yeah, I know. Somebody said that earlier. Also, how do you feel about Kellen Moore, the Dallas offensive coordinator, as a potential head coach? I mean, listen, anything's possible. I obviously I'd give him a chance, and I know a lot of Giants fans are excited about that because they see, how good Dallas's offense has been, especially since we took Jason Garrett off their hands. And Kellen Moore has revitalized that Dallas Cowboys offense really since they got Amari Cooper. That offense really started to hit another level. But the one thing I will say is, we talk about, a perfect situation for an offensive coordinator. I mean, their offensive line is as good as they come. They got 2 great running backs. They got 3 great wide receivers. So I don't know, he's dealt a really good hand. So I don't know. I'm not saying he may be great, but I don't know. I don't know if he'd make a great head coach, but it's certainly worth an interview. Big Kane says, who's the quarterbacks that's coming out in 2020? I mean, there's a bunch. There's a bunch. I mean, you saw one last night, but let me just pull up the mock draft real quick. I always forget the third guy's name, but there's a couple. And again, these mock drafts are going to completely change, though. These quarterbacks may go. There may be a guy that comes out of nowhere that may go much higher in the draft next year that we don't even know about. Joe Burrow was a complete unknown. Baker Mayfield was a complete unknown, so on and so forth. But C.J. Stroud actually moved up. He was actually fourth last time I checked this mock. He's now going number 2 to the Lions, probably based off Bryce Young's performance in the national championship. They got him going 4. So Stroud and Young are the 2 names that you hear. But then the other one is Anthony Richardson. I've seen him high in a couple of mocks in next year's draft. He didn't play a whole lot this year for the Gators when I looked into him. I think he only threw like 6 touchdowns and 5 picks, but he's a guy that a lot of people feel like has a lot of high upside, I suppose, going into next year's draft. But the 2 main ones are Young and Stroud. Those are the 2 main ones right now that you hear about. And Bob, he says, how about the Slobber Knockers? What's going on, Bob Wells, man? Thanks so much for popping in the stream, buddy. Appreciate it, man. Let's go, man. And Blue says, want people to remember how awful this team was without DJ. Legendary ineptitude. Saquon Barkley hits 500, etc. I blame everyone but Judge. I think DJ deserves a 4th chance, but it's a business. Need offensive line. Listen, all you got to do, Blue, and I'm not making excuses for anybody. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, don't make excuses for Daniel Jones. All you need to do, okay, and Mike Glennon sucks, okay? I brought this up in my stream the other day, okay? Mike Glennon sucks. But Mike Glennon doesn't suck nearly as bad as he did with the New York Giants over his career. And if you don't think the surrounding cast had something to do with that, you're crazy. The New York Giants team is built so poorly. Look at these stats. Look at Mike Glennon's stats with the Giants and with everywhere else he's ever played in his entire career. He played with the Jaguars last year, okay? Played with the Jaguars last year. He was 31 in 2020 with the Jaguars. He had 12 more passing attempts, 179 attempts to 167 this year. He had a 62% completion percentage with them. He had a 54% completion with the Giants. He threw for 300 more yards in just 12 more attempts with the Jaguars than he did the Giants. He threw for 3 more touchdowns. He threw for 5 less picks. He had 7 touchdowns, 5 picks this year. He had 4 touchdowns and 10 picks. He had a interception percentage with the Giants of 6. The year before with the Jaguars, he had an interception percentage of 2.8. He never had his stats approaching throughout his entire career what they approach with the New York Giants. So if you don't think that it's for people to think it's just Daniel Jones, you're out of your mind. There's more to it than just that. It's the offensive line. It's the scheme. I'm not telling you Daniel Jones is elite. I'm not telling you that, but there's a lot more problems than just that. I'm complete agreement with you. NY Giants 26 says lineman equals chummy buttons. All right. I think I want something a little harder, a little tougher than that. But we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Chummy buttons. And Blue 99, stand up, new member. Welcome to the squad, man. I appreciate it, Blue 99, man. Thank you very much, buddy. And Fabian says, Tana, I want to be a member, but I'm not sure if I'm still a member on my old account. Can I get my wrench back? I don't have the YouTube chat. Actually, well, I'm not going to be able to find you because the YouTube chat is way off from this right now because I'm so far behind. In a smaller stream, Fabian, I'll definitely give you your wrench back. You don't have to donate for that, man. But I'll definitely give you a wrench back in a smaller stream. Right now, it's tough for me to catch up. Justin Fink, man, thank you so much for the $2 donation, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody for being here. If you haven't done so, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. I will be live tomorrow. I told you guys we're going to be live on Twitter. I'll be live tomorrow on Twitter. And I'll hopefully get to talk to some of you guys about the excitement with the coaching search and the GM search. WRX says, Ryan Dunleavy reported, source said staff walked on eggshells, didn't believe in the system. Judge was broken, record with no changes. I believe it. I mean, last year, you saw dysfunction last year, right? And obviously he was a rookie head coach and Jason Garrett didn't want to bash him to the media, but and as fans, we kind of overlooked it. I'll be the first to say it. You're rooting for your football team. You want your head coach to be the next great thing. You're invested in your team. You want change. You want hope. It was not a good sign last year, halfway through the season when he got into a fist fight, reportedly, with their offensive line coach. Like, head coaches should not be getting into fist fights with other members of the coaching staff. So his whole tenure here at this point, I hate to say it because I was rooting for Joe, is dysfunction. I mean, just let's call it for what it is. And now you're getting reports that the players are coming out and saying that they were walking on eggshells. I mean, LT, man, thank you very much, man. As an Eagles fan, wish you would suck longer. But since you could only be better next year, the NFC East is on the top. Look forward to the Philly 500 collabs. Oh, I love Philly 500. Definitely be working with him. I just want this team to be better before I start doing roundtables. Like, when I go into those NFC East roundtables, like in season, I'm like, what the hell am I going to talk about? Like, I got the Eagles in it. I got Washington in it. I got Dallas in it. I'm just sitting there like, I hate you guys. I hate you guys. So, like, that's why I don't do a lot of the NFC's roundtables, because it's like it's depressing for a Giants fan sitting there and listening to all the teams that are so much better than we are. And I just hope we get, it's much more fun when everybody in the division is at least semi-competitive. But LT, man, I really appreciate it, man. TD, man, thank you so much for the 99-cent donation. I appreciate it. Dennis says, hey, Chris, longtime watcher, and I work on a channel called Dinger City with a decent following. I'd love to collaborate with you one day. Yeah, man, for sure. Dennis, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter. If you do, shoot me a message. If you don't, I'll put my email here. I always put my email when you guys ask. If you don't have a Twitter, you can email me here. I'll try to see it. Sometimes I miss emails. It's better if you message me on Twitter. I'll definitely see that. But yeah, Dennis, man, I definitely, man, reach out to me. And I've seen you in my streams a lot before. So thank you very much, buddy. Let's see. Wow, man, I am completely out of breath right now. Jeremiah, another Eagles fan, just got off Bad Dog stream. Was a sad day. By the way, Miami is a weird franchise. For real, though. Good to see you two happy. Giants still stink. Go San Francisco. Jeremiah, that is one thing that Eagles fans and Giants fans could come together on. We freaking hate the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm with you on that. And thank you so much for all the support. And I'm looking forward, man, hopefully in the coming years, where the New York Giants and the Eagles are both competitive again. And I mean, I never root for you guys to win, but it is fun when both teams are, at least good or decent, when those games actually mean something. I miss the days where I went into a divisional game with like a ton of juice, and it's been a long time. Davey, man, thank you very much, man. I called it, Chris. Great start to the offseason. Davey, man, good call, man. There's going to be a lot of offseason content coming up, man. You know it, man. There's going to be a lot of off-season content coming up, and I'm looking forward to talking about it with you. Al says, how quick does the Giants need to fill the GM position? I mean, the quicker the better, but at the same time, Al, you don't want to get it wrong. You know what I'm saying? So the quicker the better, because you want to be able to bring in your head coach. The way I looked at it, though, and somebody brought it up earlier, the way I look at it is the fact that they fired Judge leads me to believe that they may already know who they're going to bring in to be the head coach. They may already know. They may have already talked to Shane, and they know they're going to hire him, and Shane already has Dabble in mind or whatever. Or they may already know the couple of head coaches. Like, this is something the Giants probably through back channels have been preparing for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Certainly with the GM. I mean, the reports that came out, I think I read on Twitter today that they've been talking to Shane for like a month. So they may already know the handful of head coaches that they may be looking at, and maybe they have talked through back channels already. So you want to get it right. That's what I'll say, Al. But I think it's going to happen quicker than we think. I really do. Meat, I don't. Hopefully, I can find the super sticker on. Actually, let me see if I can pull up the chat here. Let me see if I can pull it up for Meat. I'm so far behind because they don't show the super stickers. Lost you for a second. Meat, I'm going to get to your super sticker. I'm going to have to go back and look. I will get to your super sticker, though, I promise. I will get to your super sticker. I'm sorry about that. Anthony Richardson, I might have just skipped from the chat. I'm sorry if I missed a couple. Matter of fact, let me go in here so I make sure I don't miss anybody. Hold on one second. I don't want to miss anybody. Let's see. I'm trying to remember the last one that I just read. Was a super sticker. I know that. Oh, my God, man. You guys, there it is. Oh, it was a chair spin. Oh, no, it was one of these. There you go, Meat. Here's one of these. Viva the games, man. Thank you very much. He says, do you believe, let me do another one for you. I don't know. Meat, man. Thank you very much. Do you believe Bill Belichick gave a good word about Joe Judge to have revenge from the last 2 Super Bowl beatdowns? Viva the games. I don't. I really don't. Bill Belichick, if you listen to anything that Bill Belichick has said throughout his entire career, Bill Belichick has always talked nothing but great things about the New York Giants. He has great respect for this organization. I really don't think it had anything to do with revenge. I legitimately think that Bill Belichick thought that Joe Judge was going to be a very good head coach for this organization. And maybe under the right circumstances, he could have been with some more growth. But to me, he's just another failed Bill Belichick disciple that tried to do too many things like Bill Belichick does. And it didn't work out. But no, I don't think he had any ill intentions. Crimson Man, thank you very much, man. Rename the Hog Mollies to the Meaty Men. Not bad. Not bad. We're working on it. Pistol Pete says spring cleaning came early. Rob Sale gone as well. Let's go, Big Blue. What's next? I mean, general manager is going to come first. Head coach is going to come after that. Then we're going to start to hear about the scouts and people from within the organization and how much turnover we're actually going to have. That's what's going to come next. But I think the GM will be the first domino to fall. Then you get your head coach. Then you're going to get all the coaches underneath them. You're going to get the offensive coordinator. You're going to hear about all the scouts. There's going to be a ton of content over the next month and a half. There's going to be so many new members of this New York Giants coaching staff and upper management. Jay, Matt, thank you very much, man. I wonder, did Mara have to watch the tape to make the decision today? Well, if Mara didn't have to watch the tape, Jay, I'm going to tell you what. Joe Judge tried to tell him to watch it. That much I can guarantee to you. I don't know if Mara watched it, but Joe Judge tried to convince him to. Manny says, 2 cents, shame. I was so pumped that opening press conference. Got to give Judge credit for fixing Thomas. I think he'll be a great coach one day. Hey, Manny, I said it earlier in the stream. I got nothing but nothing but good thoughts for Joe Judge going forward. I hope he does a great job. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he was in over his head. I think he was in over his head. That doesn't mean he can't be a great coach in the future, but it just didn't work here. And you move on, and you hope he grows from it. Jeremiah, man, thank you very much, man. Rehire Gettleman. Judge was holding him back. Jeremiah wants us to keep Gettleman so bad. Dire Giants fan says, all right, lost my job right there. Joe Judge, for me, I'm celebrating tonight. Cheers to you, Dire, man. And congratulations. I'm just reading them here, guys. Blake says, with the final image of Judge being the 11-minute rant and quarterback sneaks highly unlikely, he gets a head coaching. No. Well, here's what I'll say, Blake. Here's what I'll say about the Joe Judge thing. And then we'll get to Brett and I think we're almost caught up. Here's what I'll say about the Joe Judge thing. As far as let me just read that back real quick. He says, with the final image of Judge being the 11-minute rant and the quarterback sneaks highly unlikely. Yeah, here's what I'll say. If you remember the New York Jets when they fired when they fired Eric Mangini. Everybody said, oh, my God, run him out of town. He's horrible. Very similar departure to that of the New York Giants. He was there for 3 years. He had more success. He won 10 games his first year, but he was kind of hyped up his first year, much like New York Giants fans hyped up Joe Judge his first year. And then he had a slow death, and he was out by year 3. And if you listen to people in the New York media, they all said there's no way in hell Mangini will ever get another head coaching job anytime soon. He got a head coaching job the next year. Cleveland Browns hired him. So you don't know. I mean, there may be an organization out there. Who knows? You know, if he goes out there and impresses them. But my guess would be he's not going to get another head coaching opportunity next year. He's probably going to have to go back with Belichick and reestablish himself and potentially get another head coaching job in the future. And G-Matt there very much says, no more running laps. No, the Giants will not be running laps next year, at least not ordered by Joe Judge. Adelman, he says, Joe Chris, number 17 is going to be retired. Let's go, Matt. Yeah, I heard it. Somebody told me earlier that Keith Hernandez is getting his number retired, which is awesome. Happy for him. TD says, this feels like a breath of fresh air. I hope they find new scouts, trainers, maybe get a new field, maybe bringing some real competition for DJ. I think you're going to get all of that. Well, I don't know about the new field. I can't guarantee that. I hope. I think you're getting new scouts, new trainers. I definitely think you're getting competition for DJ. Hopefully, you know, in terms of free agency, I personally don't want them drafting a quarterback, but I do think they'll get a legitimate backup for DJ to compete with him next year. They may even draft a quarterback. Who knows? But I think you're going to get most of what you want. Seth says, should Patrick Graham get an interview? And what would your reaction be if he got the head coaching job? I wouldn't be opposed to if he got an interview, but here's what I'm going to say, Seth. Here's what I'm going to say. I know a lot of Giants fans have brought that up as a possibility. Should Patrick Graham be the next head coach for the New York Giants? Let me take a sip of water because I'm thirsty. We're talking about blowing it up, right? We're talking about getting rid of all the people that worked under Dave Gettleman. Patrick Graham was the assistant. He wasn't just the defensive coordinator. He was the assistant head coach to Joe Judge. So he had a lot of responsibility for the game planning overall for the team and the way the team went about doing things. Now, Patrick Graham may be a great head coach. I have no idea. I think he's a brilliant mind. He's a really smart guy. But for me, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to look for outside the organization. None of these GMs that are coming in have any ties to Patrick Graham. Maybe they'll give him an interview. Who knows? But I don't think that's the route that they should go, and I don't think that's the route that they will go. Dominic, man, thank you very much. Super Bowl picks. I'm going Green Bay and Kansas City. I am going to go. Okay, first I'm going to give you my Super Bowl picks before the year started. Before the year started, I had the Rams and I had the Chiefs. Right now, I'm still going with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are just So much better than everybody else in the AFC. As far as the NFC goes, I want to say the Packers like you did, but Rodgers and the Packers always find a way to lose a game. I do think this team, though, is much more complete than they've been in recent years. It looks like the defense is better than they've been. Brady doesn't look like himself. Well, the team overall with the Tampa Bay looks like they're struggling a little bit going in. I kind of want to lean going with the same picks that you did, to be honest with you. I'll go Rams just because I picked the preseason. I'll go Rams KC, but I definitely think Green Bay's got a great chance. Stefan, man, thank you very much, man. Good stuff, Chris. On board with everything, but I wish there was a way to keep Graham. This defense could be really good. Maybe there is. I doubt it, though. I think the new head coach that comes in is going to want to bring in his guys. So I don't think we're sticking with Graham. And at the end of the day, if that's a casualty, that's a casualty. Al Batts says, watching the players speak positively about Judge was like watching hostages blink in Morse code. Well, Al, we saw the same thing as Giants fans. We saw the same thing as Giants fans when we fired Pat Shurmur. Remember when Pat Shurmur was getting fired? And listen, I was a guy that didn't want to move on from Pat Shurmur, but I was the first to say Pat Shurmur was not a good head coach. It was more so for Daniel Jones. But I remember when Jones came out, Saquon Barkley came out, a number of players came out. What the players say means very little. In terms of what they say to the media. You know, what they say to the media and what they say behind closed doors a lot of times is something completely different. And apparently, at least according to what some people are saying, I haven't read it yet, a lot of the players were not in love with Joe Judge. John, man, thank you very much, man. I said Josina Anderson was wrong once, and she was wrong once again. I strongly believe Joe Judge was fired by Tisch because he actually knows how to run a business. You might be right, John. Maybe Tisch was the driving force behind getting rid of him. Regardless, I'm glad that they're doing a fresh start. And you were right. I'll be the first to say it, man. Ian, man, he says, fans saying DJ is gone. DJ is staying. This quarterback class, not that impressive, but not worth top 5 pick now. 2023, we get Bryce Young. Ian, I'm with you. I don't want to take a quarterback this year, but if they do, they do. You know, as a Giants fan, I got to hope that they make the right decision. But I'm with you. I don't want to take a quarterback. Reed Schumacher, thank you so much for the $5 donation, man. I appreciate it, buddy. And Chicago Giants fan says New York is a different animal. You have to win here. You don't win, they will chase you out of town. I hope whatever happens this offseason leads this team back in the right direction. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason a lot of people don't want to play for New York teams. There's a reason a lot of people don't want to coach for New York teams, that a lot of people don't want to live in New York. New York is tough. We're tough people. We demand results. We pay the most for our prices to go to these games. We are the most passionate sports fans. When you make it here, you're a god. There are still Giants fans to this day that will defend Eli Manning in any argument to the death because of what he provided us with. He won us 2 championships. Derek Jeter. You have Yankee fans that will tell you that Derek Jeter should be the Pope because he won championships. But when you fail here, you're swimming with the fishes. New York fans don't care. They want results. And when you fail to deliver and you come in with high expectations, they're going to let you have it. And yeah, I think the fan base had a lot to do with this change. I really do. I think they forced Mara's hand. V-Man, thank you very much. He says, when we hit our lowest point, we are open to the greatest change. Avatar Aang from Nickelodeon's Legend of Korra. Okay, interesting quote. But yeah, I mean, it's completely accurate. That's definitely we hit rock bottom. I hope we hit rock bottom anyway. And the man, thank you very much. Al Bat's great comment. Doggy and the Tana in the same day. Appreciated it, man. Thank you very much, buddy. Yeah, I didn't even know Bad Dog was live. I just saw it. I'm like, I'm just going to set up for 620, and I just went live. Okay, Jorge says, went to the last game as a gift. I had a feeling this would be the last time I'd see Judge as a head coach. Thank God change is coming. Maybe Pat Graham stand up. I don't think we're getting Pat Graham. I really don't. He was the assistant head coach. Don't expect it. I don't think we're getting Pat Graham. Maybe they'll bring him in for an interview, and I'll talk about him potentially as one of the candidates that they could bring in, but I don't think so. That's not where my head's at. I don't think that's what they're going to do. Brandon, man, thank you very much, man. We'll interview Dodds now. Bears are Harbaugh now. I've not heard. Is that something that came out? I have not heard. I heard that Dodds is going to Chicago for an interview, not getting the job, but going for an interview. I have not heard anything about Harbaugh definitely going to Chicago. I've heard Bears fans that want him to go there, former quarterback for the football team, but no, I've not heard anything about Harbaugh going to the you're saying Harbaugh now in terms of the head coach? Oh, I misread your super chat. I'm sorry, Brandon. I just reread it. Will we interview Dodds now? The Bears are. Do we go after Harbaugh now? I'm completely open to interviewing Ed Dodds. My guess would be the only reason why we have not reached out to Ed Dodds is probably Ed Dodds has told the Giants in so many words that he wouldn't take the job and he doesn't want to waste their time. Otherwise, I think he'd be here for an interview. That's my guess anyway. Otherwise, I think the New York Giants would have brought him in for an interview. That's my guess. As far as Harbaugh goes, sign me up. That's my guy. Blake says trade 5 back to mid-late teens and get a first next year. Take the top O-lineman at 7 and Devin Lloyd in the teens. A lot of Giants fans are all over Devin Lloyd. I love Devin Lloyd, and that is the only spot where I like Devin Lloyd a lot. I wouldn't want to take him at 7, but like you said, if you could get to the 13 area, the 12 area, and you could get him there, I'd be open to it. I think he's the best linebacker in this class. I would put him above Dean from what I've seen from Devin Lloyd. I've watched several highlight films of him. I like him a lot, and he's the type of linebacker that this defense could certainly use. If we were to trade back to that area, I'd be open to him. David, man, thank you very much, man. No driving for you tonight. Otherwise, you'll be your sponsor's customer. I never celebrate anyone losing a job, but it had to happen this way. Yeah, there was no choice, Dave. There was no choice. And that's kind of what I've been saying now for the last month. It's 5 or 6 weeks. AJ Jones says, how quick does the Giants need to fill the GM position? Did I already answer this question? Or maybe you asked it twice. As far as how quick do they have to oh my God, am I that far behind? No, that's it. No, somebody's saying the same thing. How quick does the Giants need to fill the GM position? AJ Jones. I don't think there's a timeline, but the quicker the better. But you don't want to rush it. You want to make sure you get the right guy in here. I think it's going to happen fast. I thought before they fired Judge, it was going to happen within a week. I think it's going to be quicker now because I think the fact that they fired Judge leads you to believe that they've already probably gathered information from the candidate that they probably want. My guess is it's probably going to be Shane is the target that they really want because he's the first guy coming in. I've heard today that it's now been about a month that they've been talking back and forth to one another. So I think that's good. That's their primary target. And if it is, they've probably already talked to him. He's probably already told them, I have no interest in Joe Judge. That's just my guess, though. I have no idea. That's my guess. I think it's going to happen quicker than we think, though. I'm not saying we're going to find out tomorrow, but I think it's going to happen pretty quickly, and we'll see. Serotonin says, happy Judgment Day, Tana, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Mick Lovett says, the only thing I will miss about Judge is his nonchalant responses at all his press conferences. I'm not going to miss that. That's been the same thing with all of our coaches. Ben McAdoo, I'm going to go look at the tape, only with slick back hair. Pat Shermer, I'm going to go look at the tape. It's been the same thing with Joe Judge. So I expect the next head coach to be that way. I've become used to it. So I'm not going to miss that. Blake Dwyer says, Joe Shane and Brian Daboll bring Mitch Trubisky for 1 year. I'm okay with bringing Mitch Trubisky as a backup. It's not like he's going to win us a lot of football games, but I'm okay bringing him as a backup. As far as Daboll and Joe Shane goes, yeah, if we hire Shane, I would think Daboll would definitely be one of the favorites to become the next head coach for the New York Giants. And now I'm going to get to Brett, and then I think I'm caught up. Brett says, Anthony Richardson is a very raw quarterback, very athletic, great arm, but makes some bad decisions. Didn't play much because Mullen preferred Emory Jones. Any University of Florida players you want to talk about, I got you. I appreciate that. Yeah, somebody in my Discord told me that I forgot what team he played, but he had one really big game this year where he stood out. And that's why people view that he's got a lot of big potential. So, but yeah, I think he only had like 6 touchdowns because he didn't play a whole lot. But thank you very much. Michael Sack says, give me an offer for Sean Payton. How have we won 9 games? Sean Payton, I'll give you a first-round pick. You want to give me Sean Payton? Sean Payton's one of the top 5 coaches in football. I'll give you a first-round pick for Sean Payton right now. You want to talk turkey? Let's talk turkey. I'll take him right now. Why in the world, if you were a Saints fan, though, would you want to give him up? Former Giant, man. Bring him here. And Blue Scale says, someone said you were looking at the tape when your feed went out. It went out for a second because I was looking for the super sticker because I don't see it on here. So it went out for a second. I pressed the wrong button. But yeah, I was looking at the tape with Joe Judge. Ian says, Art Stapleton tweet. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little late on that. 15 minutes late. I'm catching up because I was like a half hour behind before. You guys are incredible, man. Thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you guys for blowing up the stream. Let me look at Art Stapleton. Art Stapleton's latest tweet 3 minutes ago. I don't think this was it because this was 15 minutes ago. You sent that to me. Okay. The time is now for the Giants to make a strong play for Will McClay. Will McClay, if you guys are not aware, is within the Dallas organization. He's known as a great potential general manager candidate. A lot of teams have looked into Will McClay in the past, and he will not leave the Dallas Cowboys. But let me keep talking. In Dallas and pair him up with either one of the Cowboys coordinators, whichever one McClay wants, Kellen Moore or Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, of course, has done a miraculous job being the defensive coordinator this year for the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones likely won't allow it to come to fruition, but make the call. Of course, Jerry Jones could block it. So that's what Art Stapleton is pushing for. A lot of people have brought up McClay as a guy that the New York Giants should at least target and try to steal them from the Dallas Cowboys. And there's another organization, I hate to admit, they know how to build a football team. Mark, man, thank you very much, man. We need that 4-3 back in a big way. Yeah, a lot of Giants fans want that 4-3, man. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Meat, he says, O-line equals New York Wall Street. Not bad. I could roll with that. The Hogs just sound, I like the Hogs, but I can't say it anymore. I got to come up with something new. But New York Wall Street's not bad. New York Wall Street's not bad. We might work with that, Meat. We might work with that. We'll have to come up with it. I'm gonna ask for suggestions on Twitter, but that's not a bad one. That's not a bad one. And Jatone says, I don't know if you've seen the show. Of course I've seen the show Entourage, but all I'm thinking about is Ari Gold part where he yells, "You're fired, get the fuck out of here." Good day. Yes, that's a great episode. But yeah, of course I've seen Entourage. I used to love Entourage. The only problem I had with Entourage is they were only like 20-minute episodes. But I loved Entourage, especially the earlier seasons. Andrew, man, thank you very much. Love watching your content. Keep it up. Shot to, oh no. All right. One more. What is this, my fourth? You guys are killing me tonight, man. But it's a celebration. I didn't get to take enough shots in season this year, so we'll live it up, man. But Andrew, man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, man. This is my lowest point as a Giants fan. Amazing guy was all for keeping Joe Judge. Hey, man, that's your. Listen, I understand why you may be down. I'm not there with you, though. I think it was the right move. But cheers to everybody. And let's go New York Giants. You guys are killing me. Frank says, Strahan said blow it up. And then Carl Banks, who's also a Giants employee, saying that if they don't blow it up, Giants fans should move on. Think Mara thought about all of that? It's possible. I think the media definitely had a lot to do with it. If you watch the post game yesterday on Fox, when they brought up the possibility of Abrams potentially becoming the New York Giants GM, you heard Michael Strahan in the background saying, no. And there's no way that Mara didn't hear about that. And there's no way that he didn't think that that was going to have an influence on the fan base. Hearing a great all-time New York Giant that's, in front of millions of people on national TV saying that, I do think. I'm not saying Strahan himself, but I think collectively, the fan base, former Giants, members of the media, I think they definitely had a part to do with it. Grim says, Ortiz from the Ravens. Yes. Somebody brought him up earlier, and I did check out the tweet. I need to do a little bit more research, but the first thing I'll say, I think the Ravens are one of the best run organizations in the National Football League, and he's been a guy. I remember I was talking to Patricia Traina, like I said, who I'm going to be live on her channel sometime this week, talking about all this. We already set it up. It's supposed to be Friday. It's probably going to be earlier now that this dropped, but that was her number one choice, I believe, or she definitely spoke very highly about him. But anybody that comes from the Baltimore Ravens organization, man, they draft almost as well as anybody. So, yes, I'm excited about that. Jeremiah says, Chris, thank God. That's all I could say. Let me just take a sip. The football gods may be looking out for us. Quarterback sneak on 3rd and forever on the 3. There is hope. Yeah, listen, that there were so many memeable moments, like where people made fun of Joe Judge the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think John Mara felt embarrassed, and I think that call definitely didn't help Joe Judge. And I honestly don't know what was going through Joe Judge's head. Like, at that point that the media is already having a field day with you, right? Like, they were destroying you the week before for your 11-minute tirade, and then you do that. Like, you had to know. You had to be smart enough. Joe Judge is not dumb. He had to be smart enough to know that that was not going to be well received from members of the fan base and members of the national media. I don't know what was going through his head. It's almost like he was like trying to prove a point. Like, I don't know. Devon, man, thank you very much, man. I hope Brian Flores becomes the new head coach. I'd be open to it, man. I'm a big fan of Brian Flores. I always have been since over the last 2 or 3 years. So I'd be open to it. I hope they give him an interview. Euphoric says, stand up and get out. All right. All right, Joe. See ya, Joe. Let's see. A pimp named Slipback says, let the GM build the team, folks. I love all of these GM candidates, and I'll trust who he takes. For the first time in years, I'll give him 3 years. You have to. If you're going to be fair as a fan base, you've got to get – if they're doing exactly what everybody wants. They're bringing in an outsider. They're inheriting a horrible team. We all recognize it. Dave Gettleman failed. He set this guy up horribly. They're inheriting a mess. You've got to give these guys 3 years. You've got to give the head coach and the GM 3 years. You cannot fire them after a year. You cannot fire them after 2. You have to give this new regime 3 years. I don't care how bad it looks. You've got to give them 3 years. You cannot keep recycling this. They did what they had to do. That you have to give them 3 years. But thank you, Pimp. And JD says O-line will henceforth be referred to as the Big Johnsons. Not bad. You guys are coming up with pretty good nicknames. Not bad. John says, per sources, Giants Twitter has been named the new GM. We really got Mara to finally think outside the organization and give up some power. I think Giants Twitter and the media itself definitely had a lot to do with it. I really do. J-Man, thank you very much, man. The Tonkas as in Tonka trucks for our new O-line name. The Tonkas. Okay. I'm gonna put it out on Twitter, and I'm gonna put it in the sentence. Whichever comment gets the most likes is gonna be the one that I'm gonna start referring to the new members of the offensive line. But pretty good. I like it. Good suggestion. And your boy, man, thank you very much. He says O-line equals burly bears. Okay. All right. Todd says it is impossible that many of the new GM candidates wanted to part in Judge. Thus, Mara had to make this move to bring in a new GM. Yeah, and that's basically what I've been saying for the last month. I'm not going to say it was impossible. I think somebody would have taken the job. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but you're not giving yourself the best opportunity to bring in the best guy you possibly can. And I think Mara realized that. I think that's why he fired Judge today. So, and Luis says, thanks for the lost therapy sessions. Hopefully, next season we'll need less and can celebrate more. Great show. Keep it up. Chris for the Giant GM. Well, I'll wait. Maybe if I get a phone call, I'll go in for an interview. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think I'm going to be here with you guys for a while. And hopefully we get to experience some winning together. Roldy, man, thank you very much. Says, finally, thank you, God. We shouldn't stop. Got to clean house on the scouting department. Got to fire Chris Pettit, and Mara needs to remove his brother Chris Mara and nephew Tim from operation. I'm with you. I hope you're right, Roldy. I hope they do all of that. I don't know if they will. I do think they're going to fire most of what you just said. I don't know if they'll fire his brother, but I think he will fire more than likely Pettit, and I think he will fire more than likely. I mean, I'm with you. I want to fire everybody. I want them to start completely over. I want them to fire Abrams. I want them to fire everybody, all the scouts, everybody. Start over. Start from scratch. Josh, man, thank you very much. Tana, the Big Blue Bullies. That's that. I like that one. That might be in the lead right now for me. That's pretty good. Zeke, man, he says, next up, DJ, then the cleansing will be complete. Yeah, and the question is it going to be this year or the following year? But yeah, I don't think DJ is going to be here long term, especially with Gettleman gone. DJ's not. I think we all know. I'm not going to say all. I think there's some Giants fans that still think he could be the long-term answer, but the majority do not. And I'm one of them. I don't think he's going to be the long-term answer. It's just a matter of, are you going to move on this year or in the near future? Maximus says, who do you think is going to be the new GM and new head coach? Personal guess versus what will actually happen. I'm a new sub. Love the vids. I appreciate that, Maximus. I think it's going to be Shane. I mean, just based off of what I've heard and some of the rumors that have been coming out, if you ask, I'm like 20% because there's so many candidates they're bringing in, and now they're bringing in the Ravens guy. I'm going to go with Shane. That'll be my guess. And if Shane is hired, I'll go with Dabble. I think that'll be the pairing, if you ask me right now. But it's not like I have an idea of what's going to happen. That's what I'll go with. It seems like the fan base is behind that. It seems like, from what I've heard about on Twitter, they've said that they've been in contact now for a while. So that'll be my guy. That's the first guy they're bringing in for an interview. That'll be my pick. I think it'll be Shane, and if Shane's hired, I think he'll bring Dabble along from the Buffalo Bills. That'll be my guess. Al, man, thank you very much, man. The new O-line name, the Corpulent Corporation. There you go. All right, you guys are working some names. What's going on there, amazing guy, man? Thanks for popping in, man. No more shots, man. I am shotted out. I think I did 4. Might have done 5. I did enough for you guys. Man. The Big Blue Bruisers. Dean says we're getting some good nicknames here, man. And I'm glad that I'm finally caught up with the chat, man. Thank you to everybody for all the support that you guys always shouldn't. I don't know who believes. Some people do. I don't believe in Daniel Jones anymore as a long-term answer. You'll be doing yourself favors by just quitting because the team ain't going nowhere. I'm never going to quit. But I'm not going to tell people what to do, but I'm never going to quit. Jordan, man, what's going on, man? No, thank you. No, thank you for thanking me. Brian Flores to New York. I'm open to it. I'm going to do a video tomorrow once I get a better grasp of the potential coaches that we could be bringing in. Maybe some rumors will come about, but I'm going to do a video, if not tomorrow, the day after, talking about some of the head coaches that we could bring in. I'll probably do a video on this individually. Joe Judge, why I think he got fired, even though we've talked about it throughout the whole live stream. I always think it's more fun to go live and talk about things like this with you guys when something big breaks like this. But remove Joe. Kelvin Benjamin was, yeah, he was. I don't remember the exact quote, but he was right. Dan Orlovsky, let me take a look. What did Dan Orlovsky say? Dan Orlovsky. The Raiders pushed themselves into never mind. You're not talking about his Twitter. You're just talking about that you want Dan Orlovsky here as like a GM. I don't know how qualified he would be. Blake, man, thank you very much, man. Dabble with DJ could be very interesting. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, at least for a year, and we'll see if he can improve him if he's the guy. But yeah, Dabble's done a really good job with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I'd be excited if he came over. He's a good offensive mind. Mike, I got to reach out to you on Twitter. Mike's a good guy. We do the podcast together, so we got to do that. We got a lot to talk about, Mike. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow if you're free. Go over there, check out Mike Too Nice, man. Happy that you pulled in the stream. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And thank you for being here, man. And he says the New York Giants are back. He's pumped up, man. Roldy says for the first time, I'm so happy right now. Mike, if you want to come on, by the way, right now, I know the stream's winding down a bit. I'm not going to be on for much longer. I'm going to shoot you the link if you want to come on. Mike, you're more than welcome to come on. Let me post it here. I'm sure you probably want to give your thoughts as well. I don't know if you're free, but if you are, I just shot you the link, and I'll see you in the chat if you do pop in. You're more than welcome to come on. Roldy says, for the first time, I'm so happy right now. I'm so happy that I won't bother you anymore. Holy crap! Roldy. Oh my God! I just got a sign from God above. Roldy's not gonna bother me anymore. Something great must have happened. David Carr's not celebrating. He's not happy. He's not happy. And Andrew says it may be most shots I have seen you take in the last couple of years on stream. Same for me. Go Big Blue. I think we're all happy, man. Yeah, I just invited Mike. I mean, if he's free, I'm not trying to pressure him to come on. If he's free, he's more than welcome to come on, man. He's more than welcome to come on. I'm not trying to pressure him. Let's see what we got here. Amazing guy really wanted him back, Joe Judge. Ramen says, we're going from the Blue Waffles to the Big Blue Bullies. Hopefully, we can really fix this O-line for good. The Big Blue Bullies is pretty good. Maybe we'll call them the Bullies. That might be my favorite so far. I like the Bullies. I like the Bullies. Did I fight Bad? Why would I fight Bad Dog? Did I fight Bad Dog? What? Did I fight Bad Dog? What are you talking about? We were stuck with Gettleman's fingerprints. Bad Dog would kick my ass. We were stuck with Gettleman's fingerprints at least 3 years. What can the new GM do outside the draft? Well, this year he's going to be handicapped because this year they don't have a whole lot of salary cap space. They're not going to be super active in free agency. The next year it's going to be freed up. You know, for everybody that says, you know, the salary cap, it's torture, it's hell. We are completely clean after this year. We have really good books. We'll be able to make some big moves. And Ian says team needs quarterback, 4 offensive linemen, DN, middle linebacker, safety, cornerback for Bradbury. If we cut him, let's get it. I like Flores. Don't know who the next OC would be. I want a play calling head coach. Well, we had one with Pat Shurmur, but obviously it wasn't a very good head coach. MYB, what's going on, man? We in this bitch. I can't wait to get this new start to the organization. Let's go, man. It's gonna be a fun offseason. We're gonna have a lot to talk about. You're not gonna be able to start fake beef between me and Bad Dog. Ain't gonna happen. Kyrie says, do you think Judge will get a job anywhere else? Yes, I think he'll be an assistant coach with the New England Patriots. And Mike's in the chat. We're going to bring him in. Camel says, Chris, how tall are you? I'm 4'6". No, all kidding aside, I'm 5'10". Let's bring Mike on. And, I wanted to bring him on. And, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Yo, what's up?
What's going on, man? You free to do the podcast tomorrow?
Absolutely, I think.
We'll be doing the podcast tomorrow. We'll have a lot to talk about. But I saw you in the chat. You're awesome. And I know you're probably even happier than me because you want to get him out of here in 2006. So I want to get your take on it. I'm sure you're excited. But, yeah, give me your take on everything.
Yeah, I don't mean this to sound dramatic when I say this, but this is the best I've felt about the Giants in maybe 4 years. I mean, I'm so excited. Like when I saw that news, it was like, I was like 50-50 if Judge was coming back or not. I thought it'd be ridiculous to bring him back, and I get that it wasn't all his fault, of course, but he kind of did it to himself, honestly, with the extended rant and the quarterback sneak nonsense and all that. So yeah, I feel like the Giants have finally figured it out. And for me as a fan, it's just been so hard to get behind the Gettleman era, the Gettleman regime. It was so hard to buy in and believe in them, what they were doing. So, I tried to be the best fan I could, but in the back of my mind, I was like, this guy is just not it. He's not the right GM for this team. He's stuck in the 1980s, in my opinion. So, it was that, like, firing Judge, getting rid of Gettleman, plus the guys were interviewing for GM. Like, the 2017 GM search was 3 guys in-house and Louis Riddick. It was like a joke of a GM search, right? This one, though, 9 guys so far, and I think all of them have no ties with the Giants, maybe like 1 or 2, if that. But like most guys are just outside organizations, come from good organizations, good head coaches. And it's just like, I just feel like completely relieved. Like it's a different Giants team. I feel like something has changed, and I feel like this might be it. Maybe this is what woke John Mara up. Maybe Steve Tisch came in here and made some decisions himself. But I just feel so great about this team. I'm finally optimistic for the first time in forever. Now, could they F it up and hire Louis Riddick in 2 days? Yeah. But for right now, at least.
Better not.
For right now, at least, I feel very good. So I'm just super excited for the future right now.
I'm just going to read this real quick. And then, and Davey says, O-line, the new nickname should be the Bully Boys. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. I'll get to Blake in a second. Out of all the GM candidates that you've heard so far, which one's your favorite?
I've always loved Adam Peters. I researched him last year because I thought Gettleman might get fired after 2020, and I really liked Peters a lot. So that's a guy I'm going for, and apparently he had a lot to do with building up those Broncos teams. The Niners were thinking about promoting him to GM at one point, so he apparently is one of the the masterminds of building that team. And I know the Niners, they had a down year last year. They're always injured. I mean, they have great talent over there. They don't stay healthy. Don't have a great quarterback, so I think Adam Peters is a great option. And Joe Schoen, I didn't know much about a week ago, but the more I researched him, I made a video about GM candidates about 4 or 5 days ago. And Joe Schoen definitely stuck out to me. I think he had ties with Parcells at one point in Miami back in like 2009 or something. So
he Parcells hired him.
Yeah, I think Parcells was a big fan of his, so that will definitely help his case. But the thing that's intriguing about Schoen is that I like him as an individual, but he also may come along with Brian Daboll. And that, of course, is a head coach I am interested in because of what he's done with that Bills offense the last couple of years. So, just so far, I mean, I don't know a lot about some of the candidates. There's some names I've never heard of, but based on, people I trust and follow on Twitter, they're like, oh, all these guys the Giants are bringing in are like really good candidates. So it gets me excited. I'm just happy it's not like the same. We found out Kevin Abrams is not being interviewed, which I loved hearing. I'm sure everyone loved hearing that. So, when I saw last night that Joe Judge wanted to bring in Abrams to be his GM, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy will do anything to save his job. It was crazy. So I'm just super happy right now. And I just, hope they got to get the GM spot right. They can't, fire Gettleman and hire some other idiot. They got to get it right this time. But based on the candidates, it's looking good so far.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to get into the head coaches with you in a second too. Blake says, I don't see Flores coming in. He got fired for a power struggle with the GM. I don't think a GM with no connection to him wouldn't want those problems. And that's a really good point you bring up. Same thing with Harbaugh, I suppose, who could be a guy that could be coming in here. He had struggles with his previous GM and owner. But of the potential head coaches, and we don't even know yet. We don't even know who they're going to be bringing in for interviews. Like, there's going to be a ton of guys. Like, we didn't know who the hell Joe Judge was the last time, they brought people in, right? So there's going to be a number of coaches who we probably don't even know who they are right now that they're going to be bringing in for interviews. But in your dream world, like, tell me like 2 or 3 coaches that you would want to be the head coach for the New York Giants.
Yeah, it's always been the funny part to me. I don't know who the replacement's going to be. I mean, we talked about Harbaugh before. I'm not a huge fan of his, but at least Harbaugh symbolizes big change and big difference. So I can get behind that, of course. Daboll, I just mentioned, I like his, offensive philosophy. I've been a Byron Leftwich fan. I don't know if he's ready to be a head coach yet, but a lot of people say he is. So I can get behind that, of course. And you hear different names all the time. Like, there's names brought up every day where you're like, oh, that guy's interesting and that guy's interesting. So you learn a bunch of new stuff. I'm not going to act like I know every single head coaching candidate out there. I don't know much about college football. There are going to be guys at the college level I'm unfamiliar with. So I don't know about this stuff. I feel like I know more about the GMs, unfortunately. So with head coaches, it can't get worse, right? This is what I'm getting to. I mean, we got to upgrade somehow from Joe Judge. So.
What about Flores?
That's a good one. Yeah. Previous guy just said about the power struggle with the owner. That stuff kind of turned me off, of course. But I mean, his record speaks for itself, right? The players bought in. A lot of guys were disappointed when he left. So yeah, I feel like I can get behind it. He worked with our defensive coordinator, right? Patrick Graham, right? So I feel like
they didn't get along. He took his play calling duties away, but yes,
exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, sure. I mean, he went 10-6, 9-8 the past couple of years with a Miami roster that's not elite. It's pretty good, but it's not elite. But he's getting the most out of that. So I mean, sure, I can get behind that.
Yeah. And Rolly says, Mike, we effing did it, bro.
We did it.
Justin Fink says, how long do you think it takes to hire a new head coach? I've been getting this question all night, more so for the GM, more than the head coach. I don't have a timeline, Mike. I do. Here's what I'll say, and maybe you have a different opinion than me. The fact that they fired Judge this quickly before they even brought in the GMs leads me to believe they've already talked to some of these GMs and they've gotten a general feel that they want nothing to do with Joe Judge. And maybe they already have it down to a candidate or two that they think they're going to be really going after. And maybe this will happen a lot quicker than we think now that Judge has moved on.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's actually the same thing with Flores. I'm like, you don't move on from Brian Flores unless you have a good replacement option. Like, there's got to be some type of thing going on in the works right now for the Giants. I mean, that was my problem with firing Judge. I didn't want him, but I also was like, well, I don't know who's going to replace him because the head coaching candidates are not terrific, but there could be a guy we don't know about. So, yeah, I'm sure the Giants know stuff we don't know. I'm sure the GM candidates want to bring some guys in that they're familiar with from their organizations. So they'll figure it out, though. I do. I just, it comes down to hiring the right GM. If they just give the power to the right guy, I think everything falls in place. And I know John Mara is the highest power, but right below him is the GM. So, I mean, at that point, if you bring in that right GM, then I think everything else follows.
And Mike, I go after John Mara all the time. I think it's time us as a fan base clap it up.
I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. First time in forever, but yeah, proud of him.
Mara did what he was supposed to do, and for everybody that rags on him, when you're aggressive against him, you got to give him the credit when he does the right thing, and he did the right thing, and it was not easy. I mean, to fire head coach, the third head coach after 2 years,
right?
It's not the easiest decision, but he did it, and it was the right decision to make. So, in my opinion, and
that's what I said too. It's not easy to fire 3 coaches in 6 years, but when you have the wrong coach in place, you shouldn't bring him back just for that reason. You know what I mean? So we pretty much knew Judge is probably not the right guy. So why prolong this? We know eventually it's probably not going to work out anyway. So just move on now. You're already bringing in a new GM. So just do it all at once. You know, there's no point of having guys on different timelines. That was one of our problems with it. Like why bring Judge back for 2022? Probably have him fired after 2022 when you can just do it now this offseason. But they finally did it. So thank God they did.
Yeah, the way I looked at it, like if you were bringing Judge back, you were bringing him back to fire him the next year.
Right.
I mean, seriously, that's probably what would have happened. So I think it was the right move. Start to build this team the right way. Start to give fans a feeling that it would have been painful as a content creator, Mike, going into next year, knowing that after week 1, fans were going to be calling for Joe Judge's job. At least now everybody's like, okay, they're building. I think most fans, not all fans. Some fans are going to be calling the fire that coach after the first game regardless, but most fans are going to be like, okay, you got a new GM, you got a new head coach. I'm going to give this a little bit of time before I really start to judge what they're doing. So they feel like they're building towards something. And I think that was important. And I'm glad that they did what they did.
Yeah, my mindset is I'm not even expecting to win that many games until at least 2023. If they win games next year, somehow great. But I'm not expecting a lot because of the situation that the roster and team's in, I don't know who the quarterback is. There's a lot of guys getting cut. There's going to be a lot of rookies on the team, of course. So I have patience, and I think 2022 is just more of that first year of building the foundation, as Joe Judge loved to say. So I think we'll do that next year, and then by 2023, if it's done perfectly, maybe we can compete by then. But 2024 is when we should have a real chance of competing for something special. Hopefully a Super Bowl by then. But I think, we have to have some patience as a fan base. It can't all be done in 1 year. There are bad contracts on this team. We saw the spending we did last year. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a very quick fix. But if you get the right guy, and rebuilds don't take 5 years, it could be done in basically 1 or 2 off seasons. Yeah,
I'm with you. I think by year 3, it's very reasonable to expect this team, if they're doing it right, and hopefully they bring the right guys to be a very good football team.
Mm-hmm.
Xerox says, hey, Chris, let's go Giants. I'm so happy with the fact that Judge was fired. What do you think about Dan Quinn coming in as head coach? I saw that thrown out also on Twitter, and I know Dan Quinn didn't do a very good job. Well, he was with the Falcons, right?
All I think about is blown leads when I think of that guy.
Yeah,
that's all I think about.
He didn't do a great job as a head coach with the I mean, I guess he did, but he went out as a failure. But obviously, he's gotten a ton of credit, rightfully so, for the job that he's done with the Dallas Cowboys defense. I mean, he completely flipped that defense, and now me personally, Mike, and again, if they hire Dan Quinn, I'll give him a chance for sure. Why not? But me personally, I want more of an offensive-minded head coach. When people ask me about what type of coach I want, the league is more driven towards offense. The rules are more driven towards offense. You need to be able to put up points in this league to win on a consistent basis. So for me, especially knowing that more than likely we're going to have a new quarterback sooner than later, I want a more offensively driven head coach. That's what I want.
Yeah, no, I'm with you with that. I think that you mentioned it, might get a new quarterback soon, and we saw how bad our offense has been since the beginning of 2020. At least in 2019, it was respectable. You know, it was a 4-win season, but our offense back then was respectable. And then our defense got good in 2020, and our offense became unwatchable since Jason Garrett's been here. And even after we left, it somehow got worse. Of course, it's a lot to do with Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm. But yeah, I definitely lean towards offense right now. That's why Brian Daboll is kind of like that name that I keep thinking about. Obviously, him and Joe Shane might be the combination we're looking at here in a few days from now, but who knows? I mean, I don't know when that decision is going to be made, of course. I feel like sometimes teams wait a while for a head coach and some teams figure it out quickly. I think when Kevin Stefanski was hired, it was like a month into the offseason. So you never know. But yeah, it took a long time. It was weird. How long with Judge? How long did we take for Judge? Like that
Judge was pretty quick, I thought. But again, we didn't have to hire a GM either.
That's true. Yeah. That's
part of it. It was just a coach. But I think it was pretty quick. I think it was like a week once they started announcing the guys. Because I remember they didn't even get through all their interviews because they were supposed to meet with Matt Rule.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Rule signed the 7-year deal, so they quickly signed Judge. So it was pretty quick. But the fact that we're hiring a GM, maybe it does make 2 or 3 weeks. Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not that long. I don't feel like waiting that long. So
yeah, and plus you want them to be able to start planning for next year's roster. Like start putting your heads together and coming up with a plan on how you're going to build this team.
Right.
Zach says, I wouldn't be opposed to getting Shurmur back, hopefully as OC, but Barkley was rookie of the year and Jones looked promising when Shurmur was here. I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, Shurmur's probably not very happy with how the New York Giants treated him. They got rid of him after 2 years. I don't think he'd be rushing back to become the offensive coordinator for a team that he lost the head coaching position. I do, and Denver fans, you talk to them, they're not happy with the job that Shurmur did. I don't watch Bronco games. Bridgewater looked like he had a pretty good statistical year, but I don't watch Bronco games. But at least based off of Teddy Bridgewater's standards. I think he threw for the most touchdowns in his career with Shurmur this year. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think he's a good offensive coordinator. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah. I don't know. Has that ever happened before where a guy gets fired and then comes back as a coordinator? Like, I don't know.
I'd have to think.
I'm sure. Same team?
Probably not. I'd have to think about that, but probably not. Usually if you're fired from an organization, you're not looking to rehire you for another position. Right. I don't think it would happen. Blue Collar says, do you think that Marantich maybe decided this much earlier than we all think and have already had behind-the-scenes conversation with any candidates? The GM, absolutely. But they knew that Mike, let's be real. We knew Gettleman was gone after like week 4. Like
week 3 for me.
Yeah, week 3, week 4. We knew he was going to either be fired or retire at season's end. So I think they knew that. And he was probably trying to figure out what he was going to do, whether it was going to be Abrams or whether he was going to look outside. And I'm sure he's talked to guys through back channels leading up into the offseason. The head coach, Mike, maybe I'm wrong. I think Judge was coming back 100% until the 11-minute rant. Once he did that, it became a national story. And without that rant, if Joe Judge just does his typical, I'm going to look at the tape. I'm going to get back to you guys. All right, Mike. I'm going to get back to you. If he would have just done that, I think Joe Judge is probably coming back. Then you tack on the 3rd and 9 QB sneak. That did him no favors because ESPN went after him for that. But I think once it became a national story, that's when I think Mara started to pivot.
Yeah, it went from just being a bad team to an embarrassment, really, if you think about it. Like, if the season ended in week 16 and the Bears and the Washington game never happened, I think you're right. I think Judge is back for next year, and he opened his mouth a little too much, and he got himself fired. It's just, for us, it's great because we wanted that to be the outcome, so thank you, Joe. But if he just, as you said, if he kept quiet, he's probably back here next year. That's the funny part, but he just seemed like a guy who was desperate up there trying to save his job. He was like talking about the former head coaches, taking shots at Washington. And then, I don't know about you, but the quarterback sneak thing, I said this in my reaction to that game. Why would you want to play for a guy like that? You're playing for You're playing for a 4-12 football team. You're putting your body on the line. You can have a career-ending injury any play. And you want me to play for a guy who is not even going to try and convert a 3rd and 8? Like, you're just giving up. Like, that's not a guy in the 3rd quarter, by the way, in a close game. That's what you do.
And the worst part about it, Mike, it was 3-0. But the worst part about it, I try to be as fair as I can. if the game meant something, like if it was a playoff implication game and you got Fromm out there, as a fan, I'm like, okay, they're playing ultra conservative. They want to punt. They want to play for field position. They want to rely on their defense. They know Fromm. They're worried that he could throw an interception on his own 4-yard line. They don't want to give the game away. But you're 4-12. You have nothing to lose. Play like it. And the fact that Joe Judge just laid down and died in that situation, like, it's as bad as it gets. And like you said, when you think of it from a player's perspective, what quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers came out and bashed him for it today, but what quarterback or what player is going to want to come and play for a head coach like that? Like, it was bad. It was a really bad look. And I don't think he thought that through, to be honest with you. It was a really bad look.
I've never seen anything like that before. I mean, at least they tried on the first play. I think it was the first play was like that play action rollout.
Play action pass, yeah.
Missed them short, and then they, QB sneaked it twice. And I've never seen anything like that before. So leave it to the Giants, but like it's just the first time ever.
The first one made sense because you want to give yourself a little room. I was okay with that. It was the second one where I was like, can't do it. Roldy says, do you guys think we just said that? Do you guys think Aaron Rodgers clowning Judge was the final straw? No, I don't. I think it was long before that, Roldy. I think Mara. No, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is what put it over the top. I think Mara was probably leaning one way or the other, and I think what came out was completely true, and he probably got word from these coaches that they didn't want Judge. He's like, all right, gone.
Yeah, it had to be like the national media embarrassment. I guess Rodgers adds to it, but I think they probably decided by that point that Judge probably wasn't coming back. So the Rodgers thing was funny. I saw that clip, but I don't think that really influenced Mara's decision. But the amount of just negative publicity the Giants were getting the past couple of weeks, that adds to it. So I think the media was a big part. You said that before, but it's true. The media definitely helped us get Judge out the door. That's for sure.
Yeah. The national media specifically. Yeah. Johnny says Judge lost the locker room with that infamous 3rd and 9 QB sneak. Didn't hear much about the players grumbling until after that game right there. Yeah, I mean, and the other thing you saw in that game, I mean, Kenny Golladay clearly quit. Kenny Golladay didn't lay out for the ball. He went out of bounds late in the game when he could have picked up an extra 4 or 5 yards if he lowered the shoulder. And maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe they're like, if he's not gonna put any faith in us to give us an opportunity to try to pick up a first down, why am I going to play for this head coach? I don't know.
I hate to see that from a player that we're paying $74 million to, but he's got a point. Why would you want to play for that guy? I can't make an excuse for him at this point.
Yeah. And Buxo says, Tana, how about the blue whales, biggest animal in the world for the offensive line? We're trying to come up nicknames for the offensive line because we got to get rid of the hogs.
Yes.
Blue whale's not bad.
No, yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Blue whale's pretty good. Pretty good. Brandon said, Hogs just rolls off the tongue well. Brandon says, do we get a comp pick for Graham or no if he's fired? The only way we get a comp pick for Graham is if he becomes a head coach somewhere else. That's the way the new rule works. Because he's a minority candidate, they instituted the new rule. You get a 3rd round comp pick if he becomes a head coach for another organization. But no, not if we fire him. He has to, and he not just a coordinator job somewhere else. He has to become a head coach. So if he gets a head coaching job, yes, we would get a compensation pick.
Yeah, he might get that. I don't know, Is he getting interviews yet or no?
He said to be open interviews, but not that I know of. Last year, obviously, he got the Jets interview, but he didn't take it. Darren says, hopefully Mara hires based on credentials. Yeah, what do you think, Mike, this time around? Do you think they go? I think they will. I think they're going to go more for like a proven commodity. It doesn't necessarily have to be a former head coach, but at least like a offensive or defensive coordinator. I don't think it's going to be even a college coach if I had to guess, or maybe a former NFL coach like Harbaugh, but I don't think it'll be like a unproven college coach. I don't think it'll be a special teams coach. I think it'll be more of a proven commodity this time around.
Well, usually you try to go away, like you try to do the complete opposite of what you just had. So with Joe Judge, you're talking about just an unproven guy, special teams guy. So it would surprise me if they went that route once again, or college guy, but I would like to think that the guy they hire this time around is going to be more proven. I don't think they want to go down that same road again, but I do think a lot of it does come down to the GM's decision once again. So yeah, that can influence it, but I think we're not going to hire some no-name guy. Like at this point, 2 years ago, we didn't know who Joe Judge was. So I don't think it'll be that again, but it may come down to the GM's decision like more than it has in the past. Because I think John Mara's finally realized by now, like, I'm just not good at this. So let me just let that guy make the decision.
Yeah, he's listening to the fans. Let me see. Pete Schrager's tweet about Joe. Let me take a quick look. What did he say? Hold on one second. Pete Schrager. Let's take a quick look, Mike. Hold on. Pete Schrager. He's the guy from Good Morning Football, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
That's not him. I'm not spelling his name right. Hold on. Let me see. Pete Oh, okay. SC.
Might be Peter.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Peter. SCH. Yeah, there he is. Okay, Peter, you were right. What did he just say? He said Giants will interview Bills assistant Joe Shane over Zoom tomorrow, which we already knew. Shane came to Buffalo with GM Brandon Beane in May of 2017. They took Josh Allen. Yeah, I already knew that. I guess you didn't know already, but yeah, we already knew that. That came out earlier today, and that he's going to be the first guy that they interview tomorrow. I think actually the first guy that broke that was license plate guy, at least that I saw on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah, but he's going to be the first guy that they bring in. So exciting. I mean, I'm excited to see if he's the guy that they hire. Blake says they won't be able to interview all their head coaching candidates until after some teams get eliminated from the playoffs. Is that a rule, Mike? If they're not head coaches, I think you could interview them, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not even sure about that. I don't know.
I think you can. I could be wrong on that.
Hey, I thought so in the past. I mean, they could change the rules, and I just didn't know about it. But I think
I'm trying to remember during the last coaching search. I mean, we interviewed Don Wink Martindale. I'm pretty sure Baltimore was in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't think I am. And Asia, thank you for the super sticker. Mwah. Thank you for popping in the stream. Appreciate it. Let me just see if we catch up. We're going to end this in like 5 minutes, Mike. I just saw you in there. I wanted to get your initial thoughts. We're going to talk a lot more about this tomorrow, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more. The general manager search, there'll probably be rumors about the head coach. Grim says Saquon gone. What do you think, Mike? I'll let you talk first, then I'll go on it.
Well, the first name that came to mind was Daniel Jones now, because there's nobody that has ties to that guy anymore. So that's one that really came to mind. Saquon, if they hire a GM that's really a positional value type guy, I mean, they might look at it as like, we don't need a running back to start this rebuild. Like, that's a way they might look at it. So at that point, they might just say, hey, let's try and get a second, third round pick for the guy. But as you said, maybe they let Saquon play out the first half of next year and get his value up before trading him. So I don't know which way to look at it. I would not be shocked either way. Like, I could see a scenario where Jones and Saquon are gone next year, and it would not surprise me whatsoever. But I guess it depends on the next GM.
Nothing's going to surprise me. Like you just said, we don't even know who the GM is going to be. We don't know what his philosophy is going to be. He has no attachments to these players. If I had to guess, I don't think Saquon's gone. I don't think they're going to get much for him. I think he will be back with the Giants next year, but I don't think he's going to be here for long. I think they'll look to trade him next year if he's playing really well. They'll try to get future draft capital, or they'll let him play out the salary and get a comp pick for him in the following year if he's decent, but they feel like they can't get much more than a comp pick for him. So I think it'll go one way or the other. At most, it's a franchise tag. You get him there for one more year after next year. But I don't see him getting a second contract with the Giants. But maybe I'll feel differently next year. But I'd be very surprised. Shaw says, can we get an offensive line pass rusher and linebacker? I haven't had any of those guys in 10 years. Hi, Mike. An offensive head coach, please. Happy New Year's, guys. Happy New Year's to you too, Shaw. I mean, yeah. I mean, we say it all the time. Linebacker. Well, I say it all the time. At least I think you agree with me. Linebacker is a huge need on this defense. Interior linebacker. Obviously, we need an edge. Obviously, we need an offensive lineman. The good news is, probably can. I mean, we got 5 picks inside the top 85. We got 2 picks inside the top 7, and I think there's going to be a way to maneuver some of the cap where we'll be able to bring in at least some decent free agents. I'm not saying like the best at their positions, but you'll be able to get some okay free agents to bring in here and fill in a couple of holes.
I really want a coverage linebacker. I want one of those guys like an Isaiah Simmons, a Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, those 225, 230 guys that just roam around the field. They run 4.4s and cover everybody. That's what I want, but they're hard to find. I get that, but that's, the new age linebacker is what I want.
I'm with you. That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what we need. We haven't had that. That's exactly. He would complement Martinez so well. Martinez. True Apple says, not going to lie, the Joe Judge news had me doing the Holy Ghost at work. Everybody's so happy. Al says, Big Blue Bowlers, who are the biggest C blocks? The Big Blue Bowlers. Pretty good. I like it, Al. I think I'm just going to post it on Twitter, and whoever gets the most votes is what I'm going to start calling the new offensive line, because we got to get Hogs out of our head.
Oh, yeah.
Marco says, last year Joe spoke about never disrespecting the game of football toward Doug. This year, 2 quarterback sneaks back-to-back. Glad he's gone. Clown show. Yeah, I think it's a little bit different, but at the same time, regardless, it's embarrassing for Joe Judge. Regardless, I don't think. See, for me, and I never even put that on Peterson. By the way, I put that more on the Eagles. I put that more on ownership, because I think Peterson knew. If Peterson knew he was going to lose his job if he did that, he would have never done it. So that's why I always thought it was more driven from the Eagles' ownership, and Peterson took the fall for it. But for me, that wasn't Joe Judge tanking. It was Joe Judge not showing confidence in his players. Like he said to himself, I know we're not picking up this first down. I'd rather just punt. That it wasn't necessarily quitting in terms of intentionally losing, but it wasn't putting any faith in his players.
Yeah, it was just such like a shot at his offense. Like, yeah, I have no confidence in you guys, so we're just not going to try and do anything here. It was like that. So
it was cowardly.
It's not as bad as what the Eagles did. But I said before on Twitter, can you imagine how funny it would be if the Giants hired Peterson and replaced Judge a year later? Like, I'm not expecting it. I don't want him either, but it would just be a funny storyline from what happened the year prior.
Because we were all killing him. We were all killing him after. Blue Collar says the Belichick tree curse continues. Yeah, both of them got fired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Flores was because of on the field, but both of them got fired. Yeah, and last year Patricia got fired. So the only guy is Vrabel. Vrabel's the only guy that's been successful. JD says time to draft some big Johnsons. Let's go O-line. Let's go is right, man. And Noam says Giants to interview. Yeah, we heard about that. That's a really good candidate.
Yeah, I like them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good candidate. Anyone from the Ravens is a good candidate. I mean, they draft as well as anybody.
He's been there since I think '98, pretty much the time I've
been
born.
I didn't know it was that long.
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
And he worked under Ozzie Newsome, who's one of the best GMs of all time. One of the greatest
GMs ever.
Yeah.
So that I'm excited about that. Maybe they bring him in. I'd be excited about that.
Yeah.
Ira says, does the coach's salary have any impact on the cap? No, none whatsoever.
Nope.
You give him as much as you want. Now, and that's the other thing about this. Mara now is paying.
Yeah, how many coaches now?
I think he's still paying McAdoo 1 more year.
Oh, my God.
I think he's paying Shermer 2 more years, maybe. Maybe McAdoo's off the books. I don't know. And now he's paying Judge. He's definitely still playing Shermer and Judge.
Yeah,
and paying the next head coach because he's fired him so quickly. But, it does not go against the cap, Irish Rover.
Yep.
George McNair says offensive line, a massive member. Okay. All right. It's going to probably make me think too much about that, but I like it. And Dustin says Vic Fangio for DC. I'd be fine with him as a DC.
I like him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do it.
DC. I don't know about a head coach, but I'd be happy with him as DC. Art says I was wrong about the Carpenter. I am now a Wesley Steinberg. Still thrilled Joe is gone. Yeah, Wesley Steinberg called that, guys. Guys don't believe in what he's saying, man.
He doesn't miss anymore. Yeah.
Ever since that rant, he needed to go. Good riddance. That was the nail in the coffin for Joe Judge. That was the nail in the coffin. And Ando, man, thank you so much for becoming a new member, man. Stand up. Welcome to the squad, my man. Thank you to everybody for being here. Tony with the $5 donation. I appreciate it. Just going to catch up on these, then we're going to close it out. Pimp named Slipback says, people keep saying give Jones a 4th year. That's not conventional across the NFL. Year 3 is usually deciding. Expect either draft a quarterback or sign a stopgap.
I have a hot take about Daniel Jones.
Yeah, let me hear it.
I don't know if it's a hot take, but it's just there's 2 options with Daniel Jones, right? You either play out year 4 and see what happens. And unless Daniel Jones really proves to us he's a franchise quarterback, has like a 30 touchdown year, has a great season, no doubt the franchise quarterback earns an extension. In all likelihood, Daniel Jones probably walks after next year, right? And at that point, we're getting a comp pick for a guy who might sign a backup quarterback contract. You're not getting much for that. Maybe a 5th-round comp pick, 4th at best. So your options are let Daniel Jones play it out and get like a BS comp pick in the mid-rounds, or you trade him now, get like a similar Sam Darnold return, and make a lateral signing at quarterback like Teddy Bridgewater or Marcus Mariota. That's my mindset.
If you can get a Sam Darnold return, it's a no-brainer, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't hate Daniel Jones. I'll be rooting my ass off for Daniel Jones if we keep him, and I'll be rooting my ass off for him if he leaves the Giants. But knowing that I pretty much know at this point, we're bringing in a new GM, bringing in a new head coach. Daniel Jones is more than likely not going to be the guy we're pushing forward with long term. If you get a 2nd, 4th, and a 6th for Daniel Jones, you take it in a heartbeat. I just don't think you're going to get that because with the neck injury and everything else. But if you could get that, yeah. But I don't think you're gonna. So that's where it becomes a little bit dicey. If there's a market for him, you at least listen. You have to. I know fans may not want to hear that, but that's the truth. That's the fact of the matter. I'm with you on that, but I don't think the market's going to be there.
You got to be proactive. That's the thing. If you're proactive about it now and don't wait a year, I feel like you can get more now. But you're right about the neck injury. I don't know what his market is, so that all depends.
Yeah, and Xerox says John Gruden's available. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening, Xerox. Leandre says GM Ryan Poles and head coach Eric Bieniemy OC Joe Brady, DC Vic Fangio.
I don't know much about Ryan Poles, honestly. I've just heard of him today.
I did a video on him today because he's one of the candidates. I actually like him. He's been with the Chiefs now for 13 years. He's former offensive lineman at Boston College. Actually, he played offensive line, and he's the right-hand man to their general manager. They say been there for 13 years. Obviously, we know there's evidence that they built that offensive line real quick this year.
Yeah.
He's young though. He's 36, but he's the youngest candidate that we're bringing in for an interview. But
listen, youth is not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing. If he's 36, I don't care. It does not bother me.
No, I'm with you on that. It doesn't bother me either. And naturally, if we brought in Poles, the people are speculating that Bieniemy would be the guy that he'd bring with him because the Chiefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I would say he's probably a long shot because he doesn't. I think the other guys are further advanced in their careers, but maybe he does impress them. Maybe he gets the job. I would say he's. If I had to guess right now, if I had to like handicap it, I would say the favorites are probably the guy they just brought in from Baltimore. I think he's going to be one of the 3 or 4 favorites. I would say Adam Peters, and I would say Joe Schoen. I would say those 3 are probably the favorites if they would take the job. I would say those are the 3 favorites.
Those are the most well-known to me, so I'm just going to agree with you blindly.
Well, because the other guys aren't as accomplished. They haven't, these guys are like assistant GMs. None of those other guys have advanced that far in their career.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that those are probably the 3 favorites.
I was surprised with Adrian Wilson. I had no idea he was in the front office. I heard that yesterday, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Adrian Wilson and the other guy we're bringing in is a former player for the Cardinals, too, in the secondary. What the hell's his name? I wrote it down. Adrian Wilson and where is it? Quentin Harris. Quentin Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them played in the Cardinals secondary, and both of them are in the front office. But yeah, I didn't know about Adrian Wilson. He was a good player, Adrian Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Big Pork Nation says, as an NC State fan and New York Giants fan, Ike him at pick number 5 or 7. I love him. He's one of my favorite players in this draft so far of what I've seen. Jeremiah says Vrabel is not from the Belichick coaching tree. Well, he played for him. Yeah, he didn't technically coach under him. He played for him. Yes, he didn't coach under him. So technically, he's not from the coaching tree. Good point. Even though he probably picked up obviously some coaching tendencies.
Yeah.
Luke always says, out of respect, number 76, draft some jumbos. Jumbo L. We're gonna call them jumbos. That's pretty good. I like it. Zach says we need Evan Neal, but how can we get him?
Is he falling the 5 or no?
He could. I mean, you look at the top 5 right now, top 4. We're 5. I don't think the Jets will take a lineman because they've drafted 2 first-round offensive linemen in the last 2 years. I think they're going to go defense. You figure who's got the first pick? The Jaguars?
I don't even know.
I think the Jaguars. Yeah, the Lions beat the Packers last week, so I think the Jaguars have the first pick. Lions have the second pick. Houston has the third pick. I think he's going to go before we go. I think one of those teams are going to take a tackle, whether it be Houston, whether it be Jacksonville. I know a lot of people don't think Jacksonville will take a tackle first overall. They could trade down, though, and I think that's the smart pick for them with Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. Even though, obviously, there's really good edge rushers. Maybe they trade down. If I had to guess, if Evan Neal is valued as the best offensive lineman, I don't think he'll get to us. I think he'll go before we pick, but I could be wrong.
If you think about it, though, the Giants, they have the ammo to trade up if they really want to. If you trade your first and one of the extra third-round picks we have, I mean, if they want to move up like 2 spots or whatever.
I would do that.
Yeah.
Like if they come to the decision that Evan Neal is much better than another tackle that they're going to be able to, like Charles Cross, that they'll be able to take with their 5th pick, I'd give up a third. I'd give up a third to move up and do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, from 5 to 3. I would do that. I'm not giving up a future first or probably even a second, but if it's a third, I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Ben says line should be called NYPD New York Pillsbury Doughboys.
I like that. That's a good one.
I think that's the best one so far, Ben. I think that's the best one so far. The Doughboys. I like it. Noam says, I got to write that one down. I think that might be the one. The New York Pillsbury Doughboys. I like that one. We'll see if people go for that on Twitter. Noam says, which duo, Joe Schoen and Dabble or Bieniemy and Poles? If you're asking me, I would go with Schoen. I think he's the more proven commodity. I would go with Schoen. I wouldn't be upset with either one, but I would go with Schoen.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, they're more proven.
And Andy says, don't take Dabble from us Bill fan here. That's the second Bills fan that's chimed in and said that. So
really,
some Giants fans that may be on the fence, Bills fans seem to like him. Rick says if Hutchinson, Thibodeau, and Hamilton and Neal are all gone at 5, they should trade 5 or 7. Roster has so many holes. Get as many draft picks as possible. I agree with him.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah.
In an ideal world, we trade down. The question is there going to be a team willing to trade up with how thin the quarterback market is in this draft class? But if there is, yeah, I think you trade down and get more draft capital in the following draft. I'm just going to answer this. We're going to close it out. Your boy says, check out Aaron Glenn from Detroit for head coach candidate. Aaron Glenn, the former cornerback for the New York Jets. Is that what you're talking about? Okay. I'll check him out. We'll see. We're going to receive word of who they're bringing in, and then I'll start to get my opinion in terms of who I think they're going to hire. Kid Cole Chris said 2 a.m. here, fellas, having a celebratory drinks with the news today. Keep up the good work. Hashtag let's go Big Blue, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, the Rebels in here. Thank you so much for being here. World's heaviest jam band, Afghanistan. Buxer, man, thank you very much. The Pancake Clan for the offensive line. Pretty good. And Nick says, first source, James Betcher. Please don't do that.
What's he up to nowadays? Is he in the NFL anymore?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. Probably not. Did a horrible job with us. Yeah. But guys, we're gonna close this out. I don't want to keep Mike on much longer. I've been on for a while. I'm happy, and I know a lot of Giants fans are excited. There's gonna be a lot to talk about, Mike. We'll figure out a time. We'll get together tomorrow for the podcast. We'll talk about that. I'm sure I'll have some videos out tomorrow. I'm sure Mike will have some videos out tomorrow. Check out Mike Too Nice, man. I appreciate you taking some time coming on. And thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, World's Heaviest Band, Randy. Be good, everybody. Let's go New York Giants. Have a good night, everybody.